Friday night, but temperatures staying well into the double figures for most of us. So quite a cloudy and mild start to the day on Sunday. Quite a damp start too, particularly across parts of southwest England, southern parts of Wales, even southern parts of England, southeast seeing some heavy showers too. Perhaps a little bit brighter across parts of Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. However, for eastern Scotland, we will continue to see some heavy outbreaks of rain, maybe even the odd rumble of thunder too on Sunday morning. As we then head towards the afternoon, we continue to see showers spiralling around that area of low pressure down towards the southwest of the UK. These pushing their way northwards through the afternoon. However, we will start to see a bit of brightness, perhaps some sunny spells developing between those showers, but almost anywhere seeing a heavy and thundery downpour through the afternoon. Feeling warm where you do catch the sunshine though, temperatures 24, 25, potentially 26 degrees, and even in the north reaching into the low 20s. Looking at the start of the new week though, and it's a pretty similar picture. Some heavy showers to start across the southeast of England, across parts of Northern Ireland, parts of Scotland seeing some prolonged rainfall, and again, almost anywhere seeing a heavy and thundery shower. And the outlook picture is pretty similar too. Further showers and thunderstorms on the cards, but it will feel pleasant and pleasantly warm where you do catch the sunshine.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed boilers. Sponsors of weather on GB News.
I'm Andrew Pearce. This is GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the
Unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Foreign nationals are reportedly flying into Britain to use NHS services, costing you around £200 million.
The government had pledged to crack down on the practice, but it's said to be thriving, putting more pressure on an already overstretched health service.
So with millions struggling just to get a doctor's appointment, how long can we afford to run what's fast becoming an international health service?
Yeah, and in another major data breach, the Army launches an urgent investigation after the names of SAS soldiers were reportedly left online for over a decade. Despite repeated warnings, it's left the Defence Secretary furious and us asking who's protecting people who protect us.
As Chief Prosecutor, to keep our streets safe, and I'll do the same as Prime Minister.
A bombshell new poll reveals nearly half the country now thinks Britain has become a lawless state. They don't trust the government or the police to fix it. So with confidence collapsing and criminals apparently running riot, who's going to take back our streets?
And amid growing fury over record sewage spills and rising bills, the government is pledging to halve pollution by 2030. But is this bold reform or just more proof that it's time to nationalise Britain's waterways?
Now, if you haven't booked your summer getaway yet, travel giants are slashing prices in a last-minute push to fill planes. We'll be telling you how to bag a week in the sun just in time for the school holidays.
Good morning. Alexander Usyk became the undisputed world boxing heavyweight champion for a second time after knocking out Britain's Daniel Dubois in front of a packed Wembley last night. We'll have reaction throughout the morning.
There's more rain, showers and perhaps thunderstorms on the cards for many of us over the next couple of days, but perhaps feeling a little less humid than it's felt recently. Join me later for the full forecast with all the details.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Dawn Neeson, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Oh, now I'm torn whether to talk about everyone in London being the rudest Brits in the country.
Oh, right, OK.
Or should we talk about too much of a good thing? There's a French-Lebanese restaurant who've elevated fish and chips.
How do you elevate fish and chips? You lift the plate up.
They've done something with a signature garlic sauce.
Ooh.
And they've just made it, like, well, 20 times more expensive, clearly. I mean, that'll be the thing, innit?
Well, what's wrong with... Well, these two stories are linked, right, OK? Because me being a Londoner, right?
And rude.
And very rude. Salt and vinegar on your chips. And you do, being a Northerner...
Mushy peas.
Salt and vinegar.
Oh, you don't do gravy?
No.
Oh, don't Northerners do the gravy thing?
They do, some do, but no. I
compulsory, is it?
No, it's not compulsory. I do like mushy peas.
Mushy peas, yeah.
But yeah, it's salt and vinegar, lots of salt and vinegar.
Prince Anderson was on the campaign trail up in Hartlepool about 30-odd years ago, and he mistook mushy peas for guacamole.
Oh, it was guacamole.
Oh, right, OK. But why are Londoners rude, Stephen Dixon?
Well, according to this... no, Londoners.
Oh, Londoners. Oh.
It's Londoners. They're the rudest Brits. They queue jump, interrupt, and they don't say please and thank you.
That's just not true. Who did they ask?
Folk in 2,000 people. Folk in Bristol were rated the most polite. And London resident Chris said, if you don't barge your way into the front, you never get anywhere.
That's not true. I think most Londoners are lovely. They're very polite.
You walk down the street and say good morning to a Londoner and they nearly die.
Yeah, but that's just you.
Well, you let them out. You let them out of a junction in a car. They look at it as if you've
gone
something.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I think it's very Londonist.
Do you?
Yeah. And London gets really hard pressed at the moment. You know, it's not great, but could be worse.
Oh, it could be worse.
Yeah.
I lived up north, and I remember going home late at night one evening. I arrived about 11 o'clock in the evening. My next-door neighbour was there helping me. This is when I lived in Cheshire, helping me back into my drive, just as a favour.
Yeah.
And then you nick your car?
No, my neighbour.
Oh.
Sort of thing you do. You don't even have to lock your door up north.
Yeah, whatevs.
Right, anyway. No, we shouldn't be anti-London. No. There you go. Right, shall we have a look at our main news this morning? And it's all about health tourism, which has apparently left the NHS with a £200 million black hole.
Oh, another black hole, great. That's despite years of government pledges to crack down on abuse of the system.
Well, these new figures, which have been obtained by the Sunday Express, reveal that foreign nationals have racked up huge treatment bills over the last 5 years, and they think about £110,000 is lost to this every single day.
So, is this yet another example of soft-touch Britain and a black hole that needs plugging in the government's finances?
Let's talk to political commentator Charlie Rowley. Charlie, good morning to you.
Charlie.
Good morning. I suppose if you think about it, we knew this sort of tourism was happening, but not to this extent.
I think that's absolutely right. And the idea that as part of this story also, that some institutions within the NHS, so whether it's a local commissioning group or whether it's an actual hospital, they fail to even invoice somebody that might have been in because they know that actually that invoice won't be paid. I mean, it's beggars belief. And for so long we've talked about it not being an international health service. It's a national health service. People who are here, obviously hard work, work hard, pay their taxes. That's where the money goes. It goes onto the NHS, something that we can all rely upon, something that we want to keep and preserve for when we all get sick or when we all need to use it. But the idea that people literally come over as part of health tourism, use the NHS, and then, hop it back home.
But we all know...
It's on the taxpayer's buck.
But we all know when you pop into a hospital or whatever, they get on the system, they see who you are, etc. They should be able to see... If someone isn't eligible, they should be charged up front, shouldn't they?
Well, they should, but this is where I think the politics of running and maintaining the NHS comes in, because as soon as you ask the question, should you be asking who is it that's turns up at the front gates or the revolving doors of any kind of NHS hospital, then you're privatising it, because the whole point of the NHS is that it's free at the point of delivery, it's free at the point of use, and that should be for anybody that walks in through the door. So the idea that it's about money, the idea that it's about anything else should be second fiddle to just delivering healthcare. And I agree with that, but you have to be able to identify who those particular people are. And if they are just coming as health tourists, as this report claims to be, then of course they need to be charged. They need to pay the fee because it is not an international health service.
So it's another story where we're tiptoeing around the facts and damaging the National Health Service even further. And we know sort of like 7.2 million of us are still on the waiting list for appointments. To tiptoe around not being seen to be offensive to anybody. I mean, it's a really simple problem to solve. When someone comes into hospital, if you can't give your national insurance number and your details and your date of birth and all that sort of thing that they ask you, you hand your credit card over.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
It's that simple. That's how it works in other countries.
Yes, and it's bizarre because, let's get back to other, manifesto commitments that even were pledged. The Tories obviously got totally wiped out in the last election, quite rightly so. But as part of their manifesto, they were implementing a £5 charge for a GP appointment. Now, that caused debate, rightly so, because people thought that actually there might be too many people using the NHS when they shouldn't be in the first place, or people are abusing the NHS. And, of course, there's only finite resources, there's only so many doctors, and all of a sudden we've got all this backlog of terms of hospital appointments and all kinds of appointments that need to take place. So should you have a charge? That's a legitimate question. But that's just within people in the UK. Of course, if you're coming from abroad and you're using what is a health facility, something that is built on taxpayers' money, that is there for people in the UK at the free of the point of use, if that's going to be abused, or if it's going to be used, just like we would go to any other country, we would be charged. So, of course, people that come to the UK should pay the bill.
Is it time, and I know a lot of people don't like it, but is it time we had some sort of ID card, national identity card, so that, wherever you go for stuff like this, your card gets swiped, they know who you are, they know what you're entitled to?
Well, that ties into the question of should it be an insurance-based health system that we have, because part of your national insurance or an ID card will be linked to an insurance-based policy, so an insurance-based number, like if you get car insurance or if you take out a car just for whatever, you'll get a policy number on that insurance. Of course, people don't want to go down that route, understandably, because we want the NHS to be free at the point of use, because it is the bedrock of one of our basic principles. If you get sick, if you get ill, you should be able to have that health care, because health is the most important thing. But when it's abused, but it's currently being abused by people in the UK as well.
Well, of course, yes.
There are too many people that I think that do go to the NHS, that turn up at A&E as a first port of call rather than a last resort, which is what it's there for. And that's why you have the backlog, I think, on too many occasions. And then on top of that, if you've got people from all over the world just coming to use a hospital or get treatment and not being billed for it, that's why there's so many deaths. That's why so much money is pumped into the service. But we don't see the results here in the UK.
And to be fair, Charlie, a lot of people go to A&E these days because they can't get to see their GP.
Well,
and you get desperate, and you can't get through on a phone line, or when you do get through on a phone line, the advice is so ridiculous. So you end up going to A&E. You can't help it.
Yeah, totally. No, I totally accept that, and I think that's part of the problem with GPs being overloaded, but they're overloaded by people who have missed appointments. So there is a question then about, do you charge people for appointments so that they don't miss them in the first place, to make sure that then people don't end up going to A&E when they should just be seeing a GP. But the idea that on top of that you've got people from abroad that just turn up and present themselves at hospital for minor ailments or ointments that need treating, but yet they are not paying a single dime to what is a national health service for UK taxpayers and British people.
So the problem,
I think is absurd.
The problem you've got, just very quickly on this one, is my friend's a nurse in a big London hospital, and she goes, what happens, because I had this conversation before, what happens, she goes, if you've got a pregnant woman turn up, literally giving birth? You say, I'm sorry, unless you hand over your credit card, we can't treat you. You know, you're not a resident, you are clearly a... I mean, you can't turn people away who are literally in dire help of need.
Totally, and that's the problem. So, you know, of course, if you do turn up at an NHS, whether it's a hospital, whether it's any kind of clinic or a GP, you will be treated. And that's the bedrock. But it's making sure that you then bill people if they're not from the UK afterwards. So the billing should come obviously after the treatment. But the idea that there seems to be an open door policy, that we are a soft touch. So whether you're coming on a small boat, you get a hotel, you're able to be a Deliveroo driver or any other kind of food delivery app driver, that you're able to work, that you're able to get a hotel, you're able to get £50 a week on benefits, you're able to live in the UK and have a great time, as well as use the NHS. You know, that is a pull factor. That's why so many people come here illegally, which needs to be stopped. But it's the same token as why people come here to use the NHS, because they think, and clearly, as the report suggests, that they're not going to have to pay for it.
Yeah. All right, Charlie.
Sorry,
thanks very much indeed. Well, a spokesperson for the Department of Health said just as Brits abroad have to pay for healthcare, so should visitors to this country. Last year, the NHS identified and recovered payments from more overseas visitors than in any previous year since records began.
Meanwhile, an NHS spokesman said the NHS is committed to delivering the best possible value for taxpayers' money. If a patient needs non-urgent care, full payment must be secured in advance of treatment being given, and only when treatment is deemed urgent or immediately necessary should it be provided in that place.
Right, now, a damning poll for the government today as Brits say they have no faith in Labour or the police to keep us safe.
Yeah, 74% of those asked said knife crime was out of control in the country, and 60% said the same of violent crime. For theft, it was 70%. Asked what caused the crime wave, immigration came out top, followed closely by economic inequality and lenient sentencing.
Well, the survey also revealed that Nigel Farage is trusted more than both Sir Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch to keep Britain safe.
The Reform UK leader says this lays bare the lack of faith the British people have in Labour to make our streets and communities safe. It's not hard to understand the reasons why.
Let's talk to Managing Director at the Public Safety Foundation and former police officer, Oliver Lawrence. Oliver, good to see you this morning. First and foremost, what do you think is making our streets unsafe these days? I mean, but we can't blame immigration for it entirely, can we? There does seem to be a lack of respect for authority, for police officers, for anything else really at the moment.
Yeah, good morning, Stephen. Morning, Dawn. Yeah, policing in the UK is undoubtedly what I would describe as in crisis. You know, in the capital city here in London, you can't walk the streets without risk of your mobile phone being taken. If you park a relatively nice push bike outside a building and chain up, there's every likelihood it won't be there on its return. And if you've got a relatively nice car and you park it left unattended, it may well get broken into and its contents removed, as I find out myself several weeks ago when my car got broken into and the police refused to investigate the matter and I had to do it almost myself. So yeah, I believe, you know, crime in the UK is well out of control. I don't think we can lend it all to illegal immigration. Certainly, I'm sure that plays a part. But ultimately, we've got policing services across the UK who are failing to retain senior staff, failing to recruit new staff, and the level of service which exists in frontline policing now is incredibly junior. Most people responding to 999 calls, those brave men and women on the front line, sadly have in some cases less than 2 or 3 years experience. So there are a myriad of different challenges. This hasn't happened overnight. As we say time and time again, these are as a result of the cuts which have come over the last 10 or 14 years. But at the moment, regardless, I don't see any government or party, whether it be Reform, Labour or the Tories, talking strong about law and order. And it's not just about policing, it's about the entire justice system. It's all at breaking point and we need to have significant investment quick to ensure we can get things back under control.
I mean, Oliver, it does seem that we have almost decriminalised some crimes. You mentioned bike theft, for example. I mean, the police, that's not a crime now. Shoplifting, and no one bothers turning up. And in London, and I was defending London earlier on, we have one rape reported every hour. And the rape prosecution is almost non-existent again. So there is something that's really broken that needs looking at here, that people are taken seriously when they report crime.
Dawn, sadly, across London, women and girls no longer, they still don't feel any safer than when Samar launched his New Met for London plan. As you say, you know, things are broken. Unless police actively see a crime happening in front of them, there's very little chance of them investigating. As I said, as I found out very recently, there just isn't the capacity or the resources to investigate these crimes, to bring, there's no deterrent. You know, we're seeing often quite serious offenders, particularly when we look at child exploitation material, offenders not seeing the inside of a prison cell, getting suspended sentences, walking away out of courts. You know, these people should be behind bars. But, you know, we look at some of those systemic issues in our justice system. We've got over 10,000 foreign nationals sitting within our jails. You know, our prison system is broken. Our justice system, we've got over 70,000 matters sitting before the courts waiting to be heard. These numbers are astronomical. And all while we ask our police to start arresting people and start taking crime more seriously, what happens when they get in the court system? It all falls apart. So it's broken from start to finish, and this is the challenge. It's not just investing in one aspect of it, it's investing in all of it, building prisons, recruiting more police officers, having a more effective justice system to ensure that our communities remain safer, because at the moment they are far from it.
Is there a sense of all this? Because one of the things in the report is that people don't really trust the police to sort it out. I mean, I know their hands are tied to an extent, but it does feel like the police, rather than being independent, feels more and more politicised these days.
Stephen, that is undoubtedly the case, that policing has become more politicised over the last 5 to 10 years. You know, we talk about these Peelian principles, you know, the very foundations and bedrock on which policing was built. And one of those is policing without fear or favour. You know, and what we see time and time again is the policing jumping on politicised issues, flying more flags outside their police stations than they should do, and ultimately being confused as to what their priorities are. So what we ask of police chiefs and the National Police Chiefs Council across the UK is to focus on what is important, remaining impartial and trying to meet the needs and expectations of all communities, not one in particular. So it's a very, very important issue that you raised, the community worry about, and that really affects the trust and confidence which exists in policing.
Oliver, finally, just one quick question here. Obviously, we are trying to avoid that it's all migrants' fault, it's all migrants' fault, because clearly there are lots of other issues going on here. But statistically, migrants are more likely to be involved, certainly in sex crimes, per proportion of the population. Is this an issue we do need to be looking at a bit more?
Hugely, Dawn, without a shadow of doubt, but that needs a multi-agency approach. We need stronger borders. We need our border force and border agents to be wandering the streets, identifying these individuals. It's not difficult at all, in my experience. You know, so we need need that collaboration between departments to ensure that we can identify these nefarious individuals who've come here ultimately to try to cause harm to our communities, and to be able to be in a position to send these people back home to where they came from. Because ultimately we've got thousands of people wandering the streets of London, the United Kingdom, who we don't know who they are. They haven't been vetted, and ultimately we could be letting in some of the most dangerous people that exist in society, and nothing is being done about that. So those sort of matters do need to be taken extremely seriously.
OK. Oliver Lawrence,
Thanks,
good to
Oliver.
see you. Thanks very much indeed.
OK. Well, I mean, let us know what you think about this. Obviously, it's something that's affecting all of us at the moment, whether it is something like a bike theft, to burglary, to car theft. You know, the stuff that you think, well, I'm not even going to bother reporting it now because nothing's going to get done.
It's a number of shoplifting
Yes.
incidents. I mean, I've seen, only a couple, but I saw someone the other day who walked into our local co-op and would you believe, stole a Red Bull and two salads. 2 salads. And just walked in, grabbed them, walked out again.
And did anyone do anything?
They called at him and asked him to stop. They were behind the counter and sort of, yelled and asked him to stop, but he just
don't care.
Walked out. So, what do they do? Their kids behind the counter.
Yeah,
what do they do?
And it's dangerous because you don't know. Talking of crime, how many people carry knives these days?
But it was just seeing him just walking in and doing it and not caring.
It's a complete lack of respect. I don't remember.
I do think it's a respect issue.
Yeah.
I really do.
I don't remember doing that as a kid. I wouldn't even nick a sweet that had fallen off the pick and mix counter in Woolworths.
No.
Honestly.
No, I don't know. Anyway, let us know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say. It's 6:21. Let's have a look at some of the other key headlines.
Yeah, more than 100 people protesting against a ban on Palestine action have been arrested in towns and cities across the UK. Demonstrations were held in London's Parliament Square, Manchester, Edinburgh, Bristol and Truro after the group was officially designated a proscribed terrorist organisation 2 weeks ago.
At least 30 people have been injured, 3 critically, after a vehicle hit a crowd in Los Angeles. It took place on Santa Monica Boulevard, close to Hollywood. Cameras in the area still being examined, but Los Angeles police say the incident appears to have been intentional.
And at least 34 people have died after a tourist boat capsized in stormy weather in Vietnam's Halong Bay. The boat was carrying 53 people when it tipped over, with most of the tourists from the capital, Hanoi. Storm Whipper brought strong winds, heavy rainfall and lightning to the area.
Right, shall we have a look at the weather over here? Here's Ellie.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. There's a lot of heavy and thundery showers around on Saturday, and Sunday's looking pretty similar too, though perhaps feeling a little less humid than it has done recently. An area of low pressure sits down towards the southwest of the UK, with various bands of rain and showers swirling around, pushing their way northwards as we go towards Sunday afternoon. We'll continue to see some longer spells of rain across parts of northern Scotland through Sunday afternoon, but almost anywhere could see a shower. But between those showers, there will be a bit more brightness than we saw on Saturday, some sunshine, and feeling pleasantly warm in that sunshine too. 24 to 26 degrees across the south and into the low 20s further north. As we then look ahead to Sunday evening, we'll still continue to see those showers across the southern half of the country, perhaps a little drier across the immediate south coast for a time. Some late sunshine possible here. But across parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, across much of Scotland, we'll continue to see those heavy downpours through Sunday evening. However, the very far northeast of Scotland, perhaps holding on to some lower cloud, some mist and murk, perhaps some rain and drizzle over any high ground here. As we then go through the rest of Sunday evening, it will turn a little drier across northern parts of England, parts of Wales, southwest England too, but further showers pushing up from the south, affecting southern and eastern parts of England into the early hours of Monday morning, and further showers as well across Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland, perhaps merging to some longer spells of rain here too. Not quite as mild as what we saw on Friday and Saturday night, but temperatures still widely into the double figures. And that does mean quite a mild but damp start for many of us on Monday morning, although perhaps a little bit brighter across northern parts of England, Wales and southwest England too. Almost anywhere could see a shower bubbling up through the afternoon, and once again these could be heavy. There could be some hail and thunder mixed in, some longer spells of rain across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. But where you do catch the sunshine, once again feeling pleasantly warm with highs into the low 20s, even across the north as we head through the afternoon.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Now it's 6:27 and the terrible weather across the UK is set to continue. I mean, it was beautiful earlier on in the week, wasn't it?
It was lovely, and then suddenly, you know, earlier on in the week when you had the hosepipe ban, and then suddenly it's like floods and tornadoes and hell coming, and we're all going to drown.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fine in a couple of days. Anyway,
Or it's
but at the
raining.
moment we have got yellow weather warnings in place for rain and thunderstorms over the next couple of days.
Yeah, the Met Office have warned this could bring flash flooding, disruption to travel and even power cuts in certain areas.
Well, here to tell us that it's all going to get much better very, very soon is weather journalist Nathan Rao. Good morning, Nathan. What is going to happen?
Good morning, both. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm here to tell you it is going to get better. Yes, don't worry, Stephen. I like the way you say, Dawn, that you're about to see all hell, and then I appear as if by magic.
Yeah, sorry, that was subliminal
it's
link
all right.
there,
Yes,
Nathan.
it is going to get a bit better. There are weather warnings in force today across the southwest of the country and in Scotland for rain, and then thunderstorms again tomorrow across the whole of the country. Now, I think it's very important to point out at this stage that even though there are thunderstorm warnings out over the whole of the UK tomorrow, not everywhere is going to see one, and that is pretty much the case as what we've seen over the past 2 days. There was an amber thunderstorm alert over London and the southeast yesterday, but actually I've been looking over social media and the news today. Not many people actually saw a thunderstorm. I think they may have over-egged that one. However, there is a risk of thunderstorms today and tomorrow, but as is the nature of these things, they're very, very difficult to pin down where they're going to happen, when they're going to happen, and even if they're going to happen. So I think the upshot of it is for the next few days, sunshine and showers, risk of heavy rain. You mentioned flooding, and when those downpours do happen, there'll be a lot of rain falling in a very short time. So flooding is going to be a concern. And then as we go through the week, yes, Stephen, it is going to be a bit better.
OK, Nathan, well, that sounds vaguely positive. But, I mean, this has been the thing since the dawn of time, hasn't it? You know, the British summer, we have a few days of nice weather, then we have thunderstorms. That's how it works.
Yeah, and that's how it's been working this year. We've had 3 heat waves. In fact, I've been on with both of you guys talking about heat waves so far in June. And now, yes, it's pretty typical stuff. The amber alert for thunderstorms yesterday was quite unusual. In fact, the last amber warning we had over London was during Storm Henk at the beginning of last year. So that was quite unusual, even though I don't think it materialised as badly as they thought it was going to be. But yes, this is not hugely unusual for the time of year. When you get very, very hot weather, as we've had over the past few weeks, and you get warmer weather moving in from the continent, and that's what they've been looking at over the past couple of days. It's a plume of warm air coming up from the continent and meeting a low pressure system or a storm system close to the UK. And when those two things come together, they tend to go bang. And that's what is seen, but not unheard of, no.
All right, Nathan, good to see you. And thank you for reassuring us a little bit on that one. Thank you very much indeed. No, it's good. I mean, the only trouble with it when it's the rain, yes, I mean, like yesterday, it ended up being really humid last night.
Yeah, it was really sticky, and that's the trouble with this country. When it gets like that, it does get really, really humid. You go abroad, you don't get that, do you? You get the hot weather, and it's just much drier. And my question this morning is,
here we go.
Why do men never carry umbrellas, Stephen Dixon?
Oh, just yesterday. And normally there's an umbrella in the back of the car. For some reason, there isn't. So yesterday I didn't have an umbrella. It was raining very heavily when I left, so I had to borrow Dawn's Hot Lips umbrella.
Really suited you, though. Did suit you.
So embarrassing walking back.
And you do
to the
have
car
nice
park.
lips.
Thank you.
Should we move on?
Yeah, I think we better. I think we better. How about some money to distract you from what we're talking about? You could win £54,321 in cold, hard, tax-free cash. Here's how.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you can win our biggest cash prize so far. £54,321 in tax-free cash is up for grabs in our summer Great British Giveaway. Cash to spend on anything you like. All of that cash could send you on a holiday, boost your savings, or just send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing. Lines close on the 1st of August, so make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, well, still to come. Sorry, we're discussing...
We're just talking about things...
We wandered from umbrellas to watches. You don't even want to know there. Just fill in the gaps.
Basically, all the gallery team here, because we've got people who actually do work on this, I'm just trying to get everyone to buy me presents. I mean, I don't know, I know that's really, really cheeky, isn't it? But they're all going away to exotic places, so I'm like, bring me back a lovely gift.
And you're stuck here, but I'm glad you're stuck here. Any case, let's talk about the sport, because still to come, Aidan McGee will have the latest sporting news. Stop it, Stephen Dixon. Or the latest sporting news, that's next. This is GB News Breakfast with him and me. See you soon.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
King Charles is stepping back from one of the most traditional royal duties. That's riding on horseback for the Trooping of the Colour, which is coming up, I think, in a week's time, isn't it? At 76 and undergoing cancer treatment, he'll now take the salute from a carriage, just as Queen Elizabeth did in her later years. But as the King trades saddle for state coach, it raises a bigger question. Does the pomp and pageantry of royal events like Trooping the Colour still resonate with modern Britain? Or are we holding on to rituals that really reflect the country, and do we really care?
I think the spectacle is important because it's symbolic, OK, and people really respond to that notion of heritage and grandeur. But I think it's about more than that. It's about constitutional monarchy. And there are 3 key points here. Constitutional monarchy produces higher standards of living than republics. It protects property rights and individual property because in the long term, it's not as vulnerable to ideology. And it holds a check on politicians as well. I'd much rather have King Charles than President Blair. And it's about continuity.
Legoland is just a short hop, skip and jump away from Windsor Castle. It gets many more visitors than any royal castle or other event. So we don't need the royals to have spectacle. We can have spectacle without it. And
Okay,
I think,
but you're not suggesting chopping their heads off, are you?
Oh, no, of course not. Of course not. No, I'd be very kind and gentle. But the one point that was made was that the royals are part of British culture and tradition. Well, in fact, the royals are German descent, who were basically, by their own internal agreement, took over the British throne.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You have the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Aidan's here at 6:36. Good morning. We better talk about the fight.
Aidan.
You were right.
Yes, because I know my boxing, and I felt that we were in the presence of greatness last night. Look, the difference between the great fighters and the greatest of the great is that they will fight anywhere and on any terms. Daniel Dubois, we said yesterday, if he's going to get the job done, he's going to have to get it done early. Well, actually, Usyk turned the tables. He got it done early.
Yeah.
He knocks him down in the 5th, and he knocks him down in the 5th again. It was a devastating knockout. Dubois wasn't at his best. There was hope for him, given that 2 years ago he'd gone as close as anyone, really, to taking Usyk to a defeat. But I just think this guy is capable of anything. He's 6'3". That sounds tall, but in the heavyweight division these days, that's not particularly big. He was giving away a stone in weight against Dubois. It does not matter to this man. He is just a supreme master of his craft. He has dexterity, he has hand speed, he moves around the ring, his footwork is on point. If you want to go toe-to-toe with him, he'll take you on. If you want to stand off him, he'll still drag you into a fight and he'll go the distance with you. None of that was necessary last night, Stephen, because he was absolutely outstanding. And it was a masterclass. I think we saw Usyk at his peak last night, and that's even allowing for the fact that he's beaten Joshua twice, he's beaten Fury twice in epic battles. He's beaten a host of other Brits as well. He didn't even fight at heavyweight until 2019. So he did all this at cruiserweight before moving up to heavyweight. Everyone was saying, oh, he's too small, he can't compete in the land of the giants. But he certainly has. And also, I would say that his popularity in the UK is growing and growing because he is a humble man. There's no fanfare. There's no trash talk. He's a God-fearing individual who stands as a beacon of hope to his country. And he never down talks his opponents. He always has respect. He doesn't need to do anything else apart from just demonstrate how good he is, and that's exactly what he did last night. Frank Warren got in the ring at the end of it in front of 96,000 people and said, fair play. You were the best player, your best fighter on the night. No complaints whatsoever. Daniel Dubois will come again. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
He's talented enough. He's young enough. And you're not going to run into Usyk every day of the week. In terms of what's next for Usyk, I think hopefully he loves the UK. He wants to fight here again. He fills arenas. And I think it could be Joseph Parker.
To say who's next.
But, I mean, it's possibly even Tyson Fury. That'd be a good fight, another money spinner. But for now, he just wants to rest. And we can hear from him right now.
UK is like a second home because this I take all my trophy. European champion, amateur boxing, London 2012, Tony Bellew, Chisora, Anthony Joshua, and 3-time and undisputed in Dubois. I'm very grateful for this country. Thank you so much. You're the best. Thank you.
I mean, actually, you've got to say, I mean, that's really nice, isn't it?
It is. It is. There's as I say, there's no trash talking his opponents, nothing like that. He doesn't need to. He's just so good. He entertains people.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? He is good. He doesn't need all that gimmick.
And that's 4 belts, undisputed. I mean, he had that before a couple of years ago, but he had to vacate it because he wanted to fight Fury because there was more money in it, which is fair play. But and we served up. It was the right decision. He served up some great fare then as well.
Yeah. All right. Look, Aidan, thank you very much. I know there's lots more to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll do it in the next hour. Thank you very much indeed.
OK, yeah.
Lots more still to come, isn't there?
Newspaper time, yeah, our favourite bit of the day. It's Pete Price and Emma Wolf this morning, and they're going through all the stories that are making the news for you. But first, if you are in search of some holiday sun, and it's not that great here, here's a forecast for those top European destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's a bit of a mixed picture across Europe over the next couple of days, with plenty of showers around across parts of France, even northern parts of Italy too. Maybe even Madeira and the Canary Islands catching 1 or 2 isolated showers. But for parts of Spain, Portugal, Italy, even parts of Greece, there's plenty of sunshine on offer. And the southern Mediterranean seeing plenty of that sunshine, though perhaps a little breezy. Temperatures generally in the low to mid 30s and similar through the outlook as well. Plenty of sunshine on the cards and feeling very warm.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie's here.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script. You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week. Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
The Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, we've got a treat for you this morning at 6:45 because we've got the papers with the author and journalist Emma Wolfe and the one and only legendary Pete Price.
Needs no introduction, really. We
Very good to have you back, Pete.
Great to be back. Love the panel
That's like
today.
a Liverpudlian and a half.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's like
is.
1.5
Pint and a
Scouse.
half.
Well, I got the freedom of the city. I was given the freedom of the city, which is great. It was a great honour.
Well, I'm not surprised, because there can't be a person in Liverpool who doesn't know who you are.
Well, no, they usually cross the road when they see
Well,
me.
exactly.
But
Anyway,
guess
That's
what?
why he's got the freedom of the city.
Everyone loves GB News now.
Good.
When you first started, they weren't very happy with it, but now they love it.
Well, you see, people have to be given a little bit of time. Should we have a look at the Sunday Telegraph, Emma? Because the middle class are facing higher water bills.
Yeah, so these are proposals from the government. They're doing a sort of government review of the water industry, much needed, some would say. These are proposals to subsidise the cost of low-income households for their water bills by raising prices for the middle class. So it's kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, effectively. That's what the Tories are saying. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Everybody's struggling. Why should the middle class pay more? The problem is the water industry is in a total mess in this country. I mean, for years we've seen the leaks, we've seen terrible pollution, we've seen repeated, huge, eye-watering bonuses for failure, haven't we? The fat cats, the water industry bosses. We've got a real problem. We've got raw sewage being, discharged into waters and waterways and seas and coastlines. And I think that the water industry almost needs to start again. Because, I mean, this is not a solution. It is not a solution. Everybody's water bills went up significantly last year. Do you remember water bills? I think people were talking about doubling, tripling. Yeah.
Do you think the government should take it back? Do you think it should be deprivatised?
Something needs to happen.
I mean, we're going to be debating that later on, actually, and I think there's a lot to be said for it. The problem is, you've got to buy it back,
and that's going to cost
Can we afford it?
vast amount of money.
Yeah. Or you wait till they go bust.
Yeah. Especially with all those people that get so much money from it. All the
there is
bonuses.
But I don't see why you should pay and almost be taxed on it in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. And why the middle class should be paying more for the poorer income households who do get significant discounts on their water bills.
Yeah.
It's a very tricky one. What if you are a family with 5 children, you're using a lot more water than, it's a bit like the council tax argument, they're not equal sizes of households and usage is different.
I have a trauma at home with myself over water. When I want hot water to have a shave, you have to run the tap for a while. And I honestly hate waste. I'm not mean, I just hate waste. And what are you supposed to do with it? You can only water your garden so many times with the cold water.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Let's talk about this one. This one's going to concern a lot of you at the moment. How to pack to go on holiday, Pete Price. Sunday Times front page, this one.
Only Ryanair. So Ryanair staff bag oversized bonuses. They get £1.30 per if they can help anyone. So there's 200 million passengers a year who try to travel with oversized cabin luggage, which just breaks the budget, and they're now measuring. Now, I've got 3 different suitcases, small ones, that go in 3 different slots, because they keep changing the slots, don't they? They changed the slots, which really annoys me. Go to America and watch them coming on with 12 bags and hand luggage. Oh, it's crazy. They get away with, and how can I say this? Certain people from other countries have the most ridiculous amount of bags, but we get penalised over this.
Hang on a minute. When you get... This is a tricky one. And also, this isn't an exclusive. Swissport, you know, the one who run the airport gates, that was reported about 3 weeks ago. We discussed it on this show. They are also incentivising staff. But Ryanair have been caught out lying. They literally said, we do not incentivise our staff. And it turns out that actually they do. Yeah. But this is a funny one. You see people with their little bag on, and they're literally... They're not sort of... It's not carry-on at all. It's like a huge, great big suitcase. And they're trying to pass that off as carry-on. Yeah. Problem is, once you get to the airport, you're stuck. Yeah. If you get caught and they say you're overweight or your bag is oversized, what can you do? You're a sitting duck. You've kind of got to pay up.
All the airlines have different size regulations.
But
you're never quite sure, and that's why you've got so many small bags, Pete.
That's the problem. And everyone listening and watching right now will agree with everything we're saying about this. And I've seen people stop you. And some people haven't got the money to pay, and they've stopped them getting on the plane.
Yeah.
Well, we've just bought new bags, actually, new cabin bags. We never put anything in the hold because ours fell apart in the last week at Ellie's wedding. But you go onto the websites, the luggage websites, and they say, well, which airline do you fly with?
Difficult.
And there's, you know, EasyJet, Ryanair, British Airways, all have different sides.
You're not getting married to them for life. What about passengers, though? Can we talk about the very sensitive issue? What about a passenger who's twice my size? Surely the size of luggage is all about balancing the plane, it's about safety, it's about the overall weight of the plane. So maybe it's time that we start saying to passengers, look, you're 100 kilos, you're 50 kilos. I mean, if we're talking about luggage...
But you're still taking a full seat.
You're paying the same ticket as me for a full seat, but you're twice the weight. We need to know that.
It's about the weight balance. But are you suggesting we actually have scales at the airport now?
Well, we do for luggage. If we're trying to balance everything out, shouldn't we acknowledge that some people are a lot heavier than some flights?
Emma, how stressful is that going to be?
I know.
Well, with obesity now, it's getting silly over the seating.
That's what
I went to South Africa and somebody sitting next to me, well, didn't sit next to me, sat on me.
Yeah.
I had half them on me and asked to move, and they moved me to the 14 toilets. So I sat there, and she came up to me and went, thanks for moving, I've had a lovely journey. I was so angry with her.
Oh, no, it's very
I've had flights where someone's got 1 3/4 of my seat and their seat, and, you know, you're squished in a corner.
But I tell you what, putting the bags in, I'll never forget a guy at Manchester Airport. He put the bag in, he kicked it, and he got it in. No one could get it out.
Oh, no.
He missed the flight.
Oh, no. This is trouble.
Oh, dear.
Can we have a look at this one? It's in the Mail on Sunday, Emma, and it's this bloke with the woman who wasn't his wife, caught on kiss cam at the Coldplay
Andy
concert.
Byron. He's been
we don't know that he was having an affair.
Well, OK, we've all seen the picture.
We've all seen the picture.
He was earning £2.2 million a year as CEO of this tech company called Astronomer. She is still the HR boss, Kristen Cabot, 52-year-old Kristen Cabot. And, yeah, they were caught on camera. We don't know they were having an affair, but it's the memes have been glorious. It did unite and excite the internet. The memes of, you know, Keir Starmer with his arms around Angela Rayner, so-and-so with her arms around, just really, really funny. And also gave Coldplay a bit of credibility and a bit of relevance.
On a serious note, if they're in a position to sue anybody over that, by the way. Because it's a privacy thing, surely.
He's on his third wife. She's on her second marriage. I think they've got enough.
But the thing is, what was happening was someone was filming the kiss cam screen. It wasn't the people operating the kiss cam. It was someone in the crowd filming it that then put it on social media, and that's how it's gone viral.
100 million views on TikTok.
It is embarrassing.
It's great to watch. It's absolutely great. Somebody put one of me up. I won't say who but it was dreadful.
Honestly, I mean, I've no sympathy. I've no sympathy. I've no sympathy.
40,000 people and he can't even put his arms around somebody. They might have just been mates. Give the lad a chance.
It's just coincidence.
Why has he quit
that he's
then?
resigned from his job.
Yeah, why has he quit?
Yeah. Oh dear me. Peter, before we just run out of time, we've got about 30 seconds.
Oh no! Don't waste it.
Oh, don't waste it.
Oh no, because we're talking about.
All right. Well, have you ever been caught on the kiss cam then?
No. Don't worry about that. He was just going to start talking about women being bitchy with each other.
Hold that one.
Yeah.
You've got to hold that. Because, I mean, look, we're sitting next to two. We've got to talk about it properly.
Two powerful women.
I just want to say, Emma, when it comes to bitchiness, it's not the women that win on this.
Listen, get all your neighbours switching on now and get involved in this next one.
Yeah, that's a very good point. All right, you two, thank you very much indeed. God, it's lively for a 6 o'clock hour with you two.
It's Pete Price and Emma. What were you expecting?
I know. I know, always the same. Right, we'll see these two a little bit later on, and in the meantime, let's get a check on the weather with Ellie Glazer.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. There's a lot of heavy and thundery showers around on Saturday, and Sunday's looking pretty similar too, though perhaps feeling a little less humid than it has done recently. An area of low pressure sits down towards the southwest of the UK with various bands of rain and showers swirling around, pushing their way northwards as we go towards Sunday afternoon. We'll continue to see some longer spells of rain across parts of northern Scotland through Sunday afternoon, but almost anywhere could see a shower. But between those showers, there will be a bit more brightness than we saw on Saturday, some sunshine, and feeling pleasantly warm in that sunshine too. 24 to 26 degrees across the south and into the low 20s further north. As we then look ahead to Sunday evening, we'll still continue to see those showers across the southern half of the country, perhaps a little drier across the immediate south coast for a time. Some late sunshine possible here. But across parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, across much of Scotland, we'll continue to see those heavy downpours through Sunday evening. However, the very far northeast of Scotland, perhaps holding on to some lower cloud, some mist and murk, perhaps some rain and drizzle over any high ground here. As we then go through the rest of Sunday evening, it will turn a little drier across northern parts of England, parts of southwest hours of Monday morning, and further showers as well across Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland, perhaps merging to some longer spells of rain here too. Not quite as mild as what we saw on Friday and Saturday night, but temperatures still widely into the double figures. And that does mean quite a mild but damp start for many of us on Monday morning, although perhaps a little bit brighter across northern parts of England, Wales and southwest England too. Almost anywhere could see a shower bubbling up through the afternoon, and once again these could be heavy. There could be some hail and thunder mixed in, some longer spells of rain across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. But where you do catch the sunshine, once again feeling pleasantly warm with highs into the low 20s, even across the north as we head through the afternoon.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash, so make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Foreign nationals reportedly flying into Britain to use the NHS, costing us all about £200 million.
The government had pledged to crack down on the practice, but it's said to be thriving, putting more pressure on an already overstretched health service.
So with millions struggling just to get a doctor's appointment, how long can we afford to run what's fast becoming an international health service?
And another international major data breach. The Army launches an urgent investigation after the names of SAS soldiers were reportedly left online for over a decade. And that's despite repeated warnings. It's left the Defence Secretary naturally furious and us asking, who's protecting the people who protect us?
As Chief Prosecutor, to keep our streets safe, and I'll do the same as Prime Minister.
Bombshell new poll reveals half of us believe Britain has become a lawless state and don't trust the police or the government to fix it. So with confidence collapsing, who's going to take back our streets?
And that's amid growing fury over record sewage spills and rising bills. The government is pledging to halve pollution by 2030. But is this bold reform or just more proof that it's time to nationalise Britain's waterways?
Now, if you haven't booked your summer getaway yet, travel giants are slashing prices in a last-minute push to fill planes. We'll be telling you this hour how to bag a week in the sun just in time for the school holidays.
Marcus Rashford has agreed a deal in principle to move on loan to Barcelona from Manchester United. Rory McIlroy has a fighting chance on the final day of the Open at Royal Portrush, and the British and Irish Lions take the first test against Australia in Brisbane. More later.
There's more rain, showers and perhaps thunderstorms on the cards for many of us over the next couple of days, but perhaps feeling a little less humid than it's felt recently. Join me later for the full forecast with all the details.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Dawn Neeson, and this is GB News Breakfast.
There's no good you sighing.
I wasn't. You weren't meant to hear that. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to the breakfast show. We hope you're having a lovely Sunday morning out there.
She's sighing because you haven't got a garden, have you?
No,
so you don't care about these things.
I haven't even got a window
This is in the Daily Star Sunday this morning, and there's, would you believe, a British lawnmower museum, which is actually no. I mean, very famous people like the King has donated a lawnmower, as has Brian May from Queen. Nicholas Parsons has given them a lawnmower back in the day. Anyway, a guy called Pete Goddard has been asked to donate his lawnmower, which has been going for donkey's years. It is the oldest fly-mow that they've been able to find. His father-in-law got it in the 1960s. and he was still using it. It's 60 years old.
Wow.
And again, Dawn won't notice, but it is actually blue. A blue fly mower. So they were blue when they started.
What hold on.
Look
Why
like a model from the 60s either.
Why is the colour relevant?
Well, because they're all orange now.
Yeah.
Fly mowers are orange.
Right. God, that's fascinating.
But no, look at the picture. It
looks remarkably good for 60.
Yeah.
Looks better than most things
My
do
dad
at
would have
60.
tried to get a refund on that.
So anyway, Pete Goddard has donated his model. I think it's fantastic. And it's now got pride of place in the British Lawnmower Museum. Good on you, sir.
Well done. And if you would like to discuss lawnmowers with Stephen this morning, please do message him personally, not at gbnews.com/your-sake, because I'll have to read them out. Personally, I don't think I want to live that long.
These are important matters. They don't make stuff like this anymore.
No, they don't.
They're all plastic now.
You know how old you're sounding when
I don't care.
When you start
I
saying,
don't care.
Don't make them like that anymore.
They don't. No. I've got to buy a new lawnmower. Ours is good, and it's only 10 years old, but it's plastic.
Do you get out there and
falls apart?
And do the mowing?
I do on occasion.
Yeah.
Well, I used to do it all the time, but now obviously I have someone who does.
No, so I do as well.
You know,
but I share my garden with my neighbour.
All right.
Yeah, so you don't get much sun out
I
there.
say someone who does. I don't mean a gardener. I just mean my husband.
Yeah, and you've got a very big garden, haven't you?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to water it the other day?
2 hours.
Exactly.
Wow.
And now it's chucking it down. I mean, what a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's because we had to give it a really good do because we were away for Adley's wedding for a week.
Well, good job water's cheap now,
and it was...
Oh, yeah.
We haven't got a hose pipe ban in our area.
Yet.
So it had to be done.
Well, it's still chucking it down, so... Any case, that's lawnmowers done. Lucky you.
I can't believe how uncaring you are about these things. She's no heart, ladies and gentlemen. She's no heart. Anyway, should we talk about health tourism?
Oh, God, yeah, no, this is...
You'll never need it. You haven't got a heart. You'll never have a problem. Anyway.
You haven't got a brain, so you're not worried about it either. Boom, boom.
It's like the Wizard of Oz here.
Here all day.
Anyway, health tourism has left the NHS with a £200 million black hole.
Yeah, that's despite years of government pledges to crack down on abuse of the system.
New figures obtained by the Sunday Express reveal foreign nationals have racked up huge treatment bills over 5 years, with more than £110,000 being lost every day.
So is this yet another example of soft-touch Britain and a black hole, yes, another one that needs plugging in the government's finances?
Let's talk to political commentator Charlie Rowley. It's not as if this is an unknown problem, Charlie. It was meant to be a problem that was being stopped.
Yes. Well, I've been called a Dorothy once or twice, if you're the tin man.
Considering on the Wizard of Oz theme,
I thought that was too good to miss. I thought that was too good
done, yes.
I woke up at that point after the lawnmower discussion.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Don't you dozing off over here.
You start.
But important matters, such as the NHS, you're absolutely right. Something that every government says or claims that it's got a grip on, where it's an NHS, it's not an international health service. But it turns out, more than ever, that there are people coming into this country using the NHS that are not being billed, that are using GP appointments, that are using our surgeries, that are getting treatments, operations, no end, and not paying or contributing a single penny to the bill that they are not entitled to have for free.
The Conservatives put this in their manifesto. They were going to sort this out, didn't they?
Well, it should be a given. I mean, the last manifesto, the Tories said that they were going to start charging for GP appointments, or it was touted that they'd start charging for GP appointments. Now, that caused conversation, rightly so, because the value, I think, of the NHS has actually diminished. I don't think we value the NHS as a society.
No.
I think people think that because it's free, they can just use it no end.
You know what?
And there's no value.
If it's an appointment, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because they can just rebook. And so I think the value of the NHS needs to be re-established. Now, how you do that is all up for discussion. But one of the reasons, or one of the ways in which you up the value of the NHS is making sure that every penny that should be going into the NHS is spent there. And the way to increase its funding is if you actually pay for an operation or service that is used by someone from outside. So someone that should be paying for it should be paying.
And to be fair, when we go abroad, I mean, it's slightly different in Europe because we have access with our GHIT cards and things, which is a sort of because we transfer and it works out that way. But you go abroad, you either have to have your insurance or you have to pay.
Totally. And you will, if you turn up or present yourself in whatever condition for whatever operation or medical treatment that you need, if you don't have that card, you won't be treated.
Yeah.
It will be very much, I'm very sorry, you'll just have to wait until you get on the next plane home.
Yeah.
So this is very simple. Maybe it's just me being very stupid, but this is a very simple solution, OK? If someone rocks up at NHS hospital and they haven't got a national insurance number, the home address, the date of birth and all that sort of thing, everything they ask you for straight away, you ask for their credit card.
Well, you would have thought, and you would have thunk it. But, the idea that people come into this country, and I'm not obfuscating from that, but it's a wider problem that is right. That could fix the problem with the NHS.
Simple.
Very simple. But it's almost as simple if you're somebody that comes on a small boat into the UK, you should be able to answer the question, where are you fleeing refuge? How old are you? What documents have you got? If you can't answer any of those questions, then, of course, you should be on the first boat, ferry, plane, whatever, back to France or wherever. So when the idea that we're allowing people into the country who can't present ID at all, the idea then, obviously, if you can't do that at the border, people that turn up to the NHS and you don't know what they're after, where they're from, of course it bleeds into all kinds of areas.
And you can't say it's unreasonable because the implication of this, actually, I know there's a lot of concern about illegal immigration into the country, but it's not even about immigration.
No.
This is it. This is about people coming here, using the service, and then leaving the country again.
Exactly.
Turning up to have a baby, for example.
It is blatant, and it is appointment I can get to get my treatment, and then I'll enjoy the rest of my trip or whatever, or I'll just go home afterwards. It is blatant, and it is sponging off the UK taxpayer, which I think will ensure that people are up in arms about.
It's a very, very simple way of actually stopping waste. I mean, that can be done literally overnight. As I said, just hand over the credit card. On the same page as this story in the Express, though, Charlie, caving into the doctors over pay, the strike that's looming, I believe next week, could cost £31 billion a year.
Well, these are, I think they're now called resident doctors.
They are.
And they were previously known as junior doctors. And I don't know any kind of profession in the public service or public sector that have acted in such a junior fashion compared to these resident doctors, asking for over and above pay rises, up to 29%.
That's what they're asking for now,
Having had a 5% pay rise, which is over and above, by the way, anyone else that works in the NHS. So other doctors and nurses that are working in that profession should be looking at these resident doctors and asking, hang about, why do you think that you're above anyone else that works in the NHS or the health service, for one? And second of all, the argument that they make, resident doctors, are that they're under very stressful conditions, they have very a skilled job, goes without saying. But, so are the armed forces. So are the people whose names have just been leaked, which we all know about, and who are on pittance compared to doctors. Who are the people that are the farmers in this country that are putting food on? Without them, we would go hungry. Every job is important. So I don't want to castigate doctors, because I know that they're obviously very important, and health is incredibly important. But have a look in the mirror and read the room. You are not the most important person in the country. You are not the most important profession, by the by. There are lots of people that make our ecosystem flourish. We all need each other to work together to make this country great. And they just need to, I'm afraid, put up and shut up and go to work and do the operations that need to be had to allow patients who have had such a terrible time because of the backlogs that we've had in this country, because of COVID and other failings, I accept. But it's patients that matter. It's not these doctors.
Does make you wonder.
Charlie, thank you very much
Charlie.
indeed. Very forceful. Well, a Department of Health spokesman on the NHS tourism issue said just as Brits abroad have to pay for healthcare, so should visitors to this country. Last year, the NHS identified and recovered payments from more overseas visitors than in any previous year since records began.
Meanwhile, an NHS spokesperson said the NHS is committed to delivering the best possible value for taxpayers' money. If a patient needs non-urgent care, full payment must be secured in advance of treatment being given, and only when treatment is deemed urgent or immediately necessary should it be provided without that in place.
Well, do let us know what you think. gbnews.com/yoursay.
Yeah. OK, now moving on, a damning poll for the government as Brits say they have no faith in Labour or the police to keep us safe.
74% of people asked said knife crime was out of control. 60% said the same of violent crime. 70% said theft was out of control. Asked what was causing the crime wave, immigration came out on top, followed very closely by economic inequality and lenient sentencing.
Yeah, the survey, this is interesting, also reveals that Nigel Farage is more trusted than both Sir Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch to keep Britain safe.
Well, the Reform leader said this lays bare the lack of faith the British people have in Labour to make our streets and communities safe. It's not hard to understand the reasons why.
So we are now joined by the former head of public order at the City of London Police, Kevin Hurley. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Kevin, this is a pretty damning survey. We have no faith in either the police or our politicians to protect us. What's going on here?
Well, what we're looking at is 14 years and 3 months of cuts to the police in huge numbers, cuts to their education, their training, standards of leadership, the failed Tory policy of police reform where they brought in people at the rank of inspector or superintendent to be in charge of our towns and boroughs with no training or experience of policing, supported by the fact that there have been very big cuts to the courts, big cuts to probation service, big cuts to prisons staff, big cuts to drug rehabilitation and big cuts to youth rehabilitation. So when you look at all of that in the round, it means those are all charged with keeping us safe from criminals are not able to do so because the courts have got cases stacking up to 3 and 4 years for people to get justice. The prisons are having to let people out with a third to less than a half of their sentence served because there's no room. There's inadequate probation staff to supervise people when they come out or put them into meaningful work. And for those who are afflicted by being drug addicts, there's inadequate drug rehabilitation. Mix all that in with something that partly contributes to your last article, which is health tourists and so on. The complete absence of people having to produce identification, like identification cards, or the absence of a DNA database for huge chunks of the population makes it very difficult for police to even know who they're dealing with. But put it in perspective, and this is what we should remember, the prisons are absolutely full to bursting, and it wasn't the RSPCA that put them there, it was the police. So if they're full to bursting and the courts are bursting, what more can the police actually do? Albeit not a lot as these days because they are so poorly trained relative to what they once were. There's a real hemorrhaging of experience because they're all leaving early. Indeed, my own son, the 9th member of my family, a very experienced detective sergeant on the anti-terrorist squad, walked out of the police with 16 years in when we would have anticipated he would have done a full 30 because he's had enough of the weak, poor leadership, the politically correct drive that goes on, logging onto his computer and they're asking, have you done whatever your DEI training is today and so on, and then seeing DEI promotions jumping over him.
All right,
All
so Kevin.
What it does, it contributes to demoralise the motivated workforce.
All right, so if that's a problem, what do we do about it? Because, I mean, obviously, you can cut things very quickly. Re-establishing those numbers, those processes and the training and everything else takes a long time. So is there anything we can do in the short term or not?
In the short term, you could probably give the police a significant pay rise, and the courts and the Crown Prosecution Service, who I forgot to mention, have been badly cut, significant pay rises to retain staff, stop them going off to private sector, stop the continued sell-off of police buildings, court buildings, immediately build a few more prisons, give pay rises to the prison service so that they aren't losing stuff. I mean, the problem with it is you've got babies almost in the prison service. So people in their early 20s at best, looking after hardened category A prisoners who lead them by the nose because they're either being manipulated or they're scared of them. And then we've got people on the streets where the average length of service of the people who respond to our 999 calls, when they respond, if there's enough of them, is 3 years in the police. You know, 3 years is barely enough, if you like, for your eyes to start to open about the nature of the job. The police are having to recruit people direct from university and make them, with a little bit of training, instant detectives. It's because they can't retain staff. You know, if you use my son as a model, a family of 9 of us, 6 of us elite detectives, you know, during our career, and that kind of person is walking out of the job every day. The biggest crisis the Met faces is people are leaving once they realise how what a strain it is to do the job and how poorly paid it is for what they're facing, combined with the continual media onslaught. And we must not forget the really poor leadership that the police service now has at the top, and that trickles down.
Yeah.
You know, when we see all these, you know, when we see all these different pride marches and so on.
Forgive me, we're running out of time, but it's good to talk to you this morning, Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah. OK, let's have a look at some of the other stories coming into the newsroom this morning.
Free Palestine! From Hamas! End apartheid!
More than 100 people protesting against a ban on Palestine action have been arrested in towns and cities across the UK. Demonstrations were held in London's Parliament Square, Manchester, Edinburgh, Bristol and Truro after the group was officially designated as a proscribed terrorist organisation 2 weeks ago.
30 people have been injured, 3 critically, after a vehicle was driven into a crowd in Los Angeles. Took place on Santa Monica Boulevard, close to Hollywood. Cameras are still being examined, but the Los Angeles Police Department says it appears to have been intentional.
And at least 34 people have died after a tourist boat capsized in stormy weather in Vietnam's Halong Bay. The boat was carrying 53 people when it tipped over, with most of the tourists from the capital, Hanoi. Storm Whipper brought strong winds, heavy rainfall and lightning to the area.
We've got a few weather warnings in place over here. Let's get the details with Ellie.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. There's a lot of heavy and thundery showers around on Saturday, and Sunday's looking pretty similar too, though perhaps feeling a little less humid than it has done recently. An area of low pressure sits down towards the southwest of the UK, with various bands of rain and showers swirling around, pushing their way northwards as we go towards Sunday afternoon. We'll continue to see some longer spells of rain across parts of northern Scotland through Sunday afternoon, but almost anywhere could see a shower. But between those showers, there will be a bit more brightness than we saw on Saturday, some sunshine, and feeling pleasantly warm in that sunshine too. 24 to 26 degrees across the south and into the low 20s further north. As we then look ahead to Sunday evening, we'll still continue to see those showers across the southern half of the country, perhaps a little drier across the immediate south coast for a time. Some late sunshine possible here. But across parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, across much of Scotland, we'll continue to see those heavy downpours through Sunday evening. However, the very far northeast of Scotland, perhaps holding on to some lower cloud, some mist and murk, perhaps some rain and drizzle over any high ground here. As we then go through the rest of Sunday evening, it will turn a little drier across northern parts of England, parts of Wales, southwest England too, but further showers pushing up from the south, affecting southern and eastern parts of England into the early hours of Monday morning, and further showers as well across Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland, perhaps merging to some longer spells of rain here too. Not quite as mild as what we saw on Friday and Saturday night, but temperatures still widely into the double figures. And that does mean quite a mild but damp start for many of us on Monday morning, although perhaps a little bit brighter across northern parts of England, Wales and southwest England too. Almost anywhere could see a shower bubbling up through the afternoon, and once again these could be heavy. There could be some hail and thunder mixed in, some longer spells of rain across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. But where you do catch the sunshine, once again feeling pleasantly warm with highs into the low 20s, even across the north as we head through the afternoon.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Oh, right, OK. Well, there is some good news. It is time, yes, that time of day, our Great British Giveaway. And you know how much it is now, don't you? It's £54,321 in tax-free cash. And here's all the details you need to win it.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you can win our biggest cash prize so far. £54,321 in tax-free cash is up for grabs in our summer Great British Giveaway. Cash to spend on anything you like. All of that cash could send you on a holiday, boost your savings, or just send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing. Lines close on the 1st of August, so make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck to you. Now, if you're in search of some holiday sun, we're going to bring you the lowdown on how to bag the best last-minute deals. That's next.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Poll, it doesn't surprise either Bev or I, shows that most Brits believe that Britain is in decline. 76% of us, though, did surprise. We fear political unrest and even violence.
And those fears come amid violent riots, of course, in Ballymena in Northern Ireland. They've left dozens of police officers injured and the area largely destroyed in some cases, particularly the local leisure centre.
Let's talk to our Northern Ireland reporter, Doogie Beattie. Doogie, this report comes on the back of sustained riots over, 6 days in the province?
They are putting undocumented immigrants into areas of high deprivation. There is a group here called Mears. 85% of their properties are in socially deprived areas, and those areas are now kicking back because in amongst those areas you have pensioners and so forth that have bought their houses back in the 80s. I spoke to a couple of them that were having to be moved out by their grandchildren.
But we know that people are not happy with. I think first thing to say is that people are worried about their living standards. They think they've declined. And actually, strikingly, in a different part of the survey, we found that 4 in 10 people feel like they were worse off since the COVID pandemic. That was actually particularly pronounced amongst reform voters. But overall, people are very pessimistic about their personal finances and their cost of living. So I think that's a huge driver. We also know that people aren't happy with the government's handling of immigration, and actually going back to that question about what's affecting people's living standards, which I think is a much better way of getting at how people are feeling about things like the economy. People perceive, including Labour voters, including a sizable chunk of Labour voters, that immigration's had a negative impact on their living standards. And I do think we're starting to see that filter through into pessimism about the country as a whole.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
No, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
7:28 now. It's the start of the busiest week of the year so far at many airports and ferry ports, with schools across England and Wales breaking up this week. Well, lots of them. We've had people messaging already saying actually some schools broke up a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
But most of them have just broken up this week, and millions of people are on the move.
Yeah, but will the travel industry stand a strain? Oh, spoiler alert, probably not. Could journeys be disrupted by strikes? And are there any bargains left for people who haven't yet booked a trip abroad?
Well, these are the sort of questions that only one man can answer.
Yay.
And that man is, of course, Simon Calder, who is on holiday, I think, himself, aren't you, in North Yorkshire at the moment, Simon? So how do we get a good deal at the moment?
Well, if you book very much at the last minute. Yes, I'm in glorious Redcar here in North Yorkshire. The sun is shining, as it does most of the time, I think, and a lot of people looking forward to their British holidays, of course, but the weather not too clever for the next couple of weeks. Sunshine and showers would be the best of it. So if you want to get abroad, I'm really quite surprised at what deals are around, and these have been researched this morning, so they are fresh. For instance, with TUI, you can get a proper package holiday tomorrow, family of 4 flying from East Midlands Airport to Dalaman in Turkey, package holiday, self-catering in Marmaris. That's going to cost you £266 per person. And being a proper package holiday, that means you get your baggage for the flight included, transfers and accommodation. So a ridiculously good deal there. And if you just want to go for a flight only, well, and again, I'm staggered by this price, tomorrow afternoon from Edinburgh to beautiful Madeira in Portugal, that's going to cost you £24 one way on Jet2. Might cost a bit more coming back from there, but does show that if you were prepared to kind of just not blink and book your holiday late, there are some really good deals to be had.
Blimey, Simon, is that a general rule of thumb that the later you leave it, literally playing chicken with the prices, you will get a really good deal?
Well, Dawn, nobody ever knows, because sometimes it works a treat. Sometimes I get really badly caught out and I end up paying hundreds of pounds. It all depends how flexible you are and how nimble you are. But certainly it looks as though the two big travel companies, TUI and Jet2, are offloading unsold stuff. And I talked to the boss of EasyJet earlier this week, and he said, yeah, Turkey is where you're going to find bargains. There's lots of capacity going in there, and not everything has been sold yet.
So, but what about actually getting there when you sort of get on the plane? Because there's been a lot of issues with wildfires around Marseille, disrupting flights, we know, last week, air traffic control issues, I mean, again, particularly in France, actually. So, I mean, are there any issues on the horizon?
Well, unfortunately, there are actually people today telling me that their flights from Italy have been cancelled because of strikes there. Air traffic control is, Stephen, a really long-term problem. There simply aren't enough air traffic controllers, and in particular in areas such as Marseille, where they had the wildfires indeed, Karlsruhe in Western Germany, Budapest, all these places which you're likely to be flying over on the way to either the Balearic Islands or to the Greek islands or Turkey. Yeah, they have a lot of problems with staff shortage, and that means you will know the feeling. You're sitting on the plane at Manchester Airport, the captain comes on and he or she says, sorry, we're going to sit here for another half hour or an hour waiting for our slot. There's going to be a lot of that, but in particular, I'm also looking at strikes in Portugal next weekend and for the 5 weekends, pretty much of the English and Welsh school holidays. The ground staff are going on strike. That could cause some problems there. And, well, the Italians, there's an entire Ministry of Transport website page devoted to the strikes they've got if you want to go and investigate that. But, of course, most people will get where they want to be. And if you're only an hour late, I'd probably count that as a win.
Yeah, fair point. All right, Simon, enjoy Red Car.
It doesn't look that sunny though, Simon. Sorry.
Oh, you'll be all right.
It is. Yeah, look, it's a joyful place to be. I'm going to be heading down the coast to lovely Whitby and Staithes a little bit later. And, of course, on the other side of the Pennines, you have glorious South Cumbria, possibly the most overlooked part of the UK.
And one of the most beautiful, Simon. We agree on that one.
Thank you, Simon.
Very much indeed.
Lovely people come from that part of the world,
He loves Ulverston. Does Simon? It's beautiful.
Well, it is beautiful, though. Of
course it is.
I like Whitby, though, Dracula.
Yes, yeah.
It's great, very gothic.
Anyway, and I was trying a clever link, but it won't work, because Aidan's here, Aidan's here with all the sport in just a minute.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back. While Stephen's looking for another lawnmower story, I know you can't wait either, nor can I. Broadcaster Aidan McGee is here to keep us company and tell us all about the sport.
Good morning again. Look, I want to talk about Marcus Rashford, because I was on this desk, it must be 72 hours ago, talking about Teddy Sheringham, the Man United legend, treble winner, three-time Premier League title winner, saying that he was very uncomfortable with the fact that Marcus Rashford was angling for a move to Barcelona. He felt that he was operating above his station. I agreed with him. He hadn't done enough to warrant that move. But it looks as if against all expectation, Marcus Rashford is heading for La Liga and Barcelona, albeit on loan. And I think we call this.
Want him? That was my issue with this story.
Yeah, I think. Look, I think on a loan deal, where they just have to cover some of his wages. What we don't know is how much of his 325 grand a week they're going to be covering. It's possible, if only covering a fraction of that, Rashford could still be one of United's highest paid players.
But not be there.
But not even be there, yeah, exactly. I don't know what it says about his England prospects as well, because he must go there knowing that he's not going to start. Now, no problem with that. You can always force your way into the first team. It's something to aim for. But in all likelihood, with Barcelona being so successful domestically, he's not going to be starting regularly. How are you going to get in the England squad for the World Cup next summer, Stephen, if you're not playing regularly? Because no coach wants to use a player who is only playing sporadically for his club. And as I say, failing upwards, because this guy scored 2 goals for Aston Villa on his loan spell. He did all right at Villa, he did OK. It was a bit of a refreshing move for him. But 2 goals in 10 matches, 4 in 17 appearances in all competitions. I don't think that does enough to even warrant a place back at Man United, let alone over to Barcelona. And as I say, what it means for his England prospects, I'm not sure. I think there'll be an option to buy for Barcelona, but then Aston Villa had that last season, and they got to the end of the season and thought, 40 million quid. Not really. The problem United have got, though, he still has 3 years left of his contract. He signed a deal for 5 years in 2023. So they're going to have to saddle these wages when they've already told the player to train on his own. He turns up for training every day at 5 o'clock and trains in isolation with just 4 or 5 others who don't want to, who the club have said they don't want or don't see as part of their plans going forward. So look, this move has to happen for him. I wish him well, because it'd be great to see a fit and firing Marcus Rashford at the World Cup for England last summer. But as Teddy Sheringham said, I'm uncomfortable with the way it's happened. And maybe Barcelona do see some kind of value in the deal. We'll find out in the fullness of time.
Can we talk about the Open?
Yes, because Rory McIlroy needed a big day yesterday. He got it. He shot 66. He fed off the crowd. But you know what? The guys in front of him, particularly Scotty Scheffler, who's now 4 shots out in front, is just flawless. He's almost like the Alexander Usyk at the moment of golf. He's out in front. Rory McIlroy saying that he needs the fans on side if he's going to have a big day today, but I think he's left himself too much to do. Let's hear what he has to say right now.
He's playing like Scotty. You know, I don't think it's a surprise. Everyone's seen the way he's played or plays over the last 2 to 3 years, and he's just so solid. You know, he doesn't make mistakes. Even, you know, it looked like he could have made bogey on 14 there. He's turned himself into a really consistent putter as well. So, you know, there doesn't seem to be any weakness there. And whenever you're trying to chase down a guy like that, it's hard to do.
That sounds like an element of resignation.
Does to me. What is he, 6 under?
Yes, he is. Yeah. He made up some ground yesterday, but when your opponent is just not, or the guy in front is just not making mistakes, and he's not won the Open for previously either, Scotty Scheffler, so he's got that hunger, that incentive to go and get the job done. But when you hear things like he doesn't have any weaknesses, and you know he's going to be difficult to catch, it says to me that despite his best efforts, I think catching Scotty Scheffler tonight might be a little bit much of a bridge too far. However, if he wins it, let's hope he's a bit more fulfilled than he is normally.
Aidan, I did promise people that you would talk about the Lions this time round.
Yes, well, we can talk about it, no problem at all. The Lions, the British and Irish Lions, won by 29-17. Good win down under in Bristol, I was going to say, Brisbane. And look, they were 10 points ahead quite quickly out of from the start. Good performance by Finn Russell as well, converting three tries and scoring a penalty as well. The next test is next Saturday, and look, I did predict yesterday that the Lions would win comfortably. I think that was borne out, because although the scoreline at the end looks a bit slightly more flattering towards Australia, Lions were in command all the way through. And Australia missing 2 key players, Valentini and Skelton. Skelton is a particularly big one, Stephen, because he plays for La Rochelle at club level. He gives all sorts of problems to the Irish backs who are making up the Lions back line at the moment at the European level. And with him not there, it just makes their life much easier rather. He'll be back next weekend, be more of a contest, but I still think the Lions will win as a whitewash.
OK. Oh, jolly good.
And the Australians think that as well.
Yeah, well. Aidan, thank you very much indeed. All your predictions yesterday proved to be right.
Yes, first time for everything.
Exactly. I was going to say that. You beat me to it.
I'm going to go all out now. Scotty Scheffler to win the Open.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough, yeah. Yes. Pretty safe bet. All right. Pete Price and Emma Wolfe are going to take us through the papers in a couple of minutes. There they are. First, though, if you want a bit of holiday sun, here's the forecast for the top European destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's a bit of a mixed picture across Europe over the next couple of days, with plenty of showers around across parts of France, even northern parts of Italy too. Maybe even Madeira and the Canary Islands catching 1 or 2 isolated showers. But for parts of Spain, Portugal, Italy, even parts of Greece, there's plenty of sunshine on offer. And the southern Mediterranean seeing plenty of that sunshine, though perhaps a little breezy. Temperatures generally in the low to mid 30s and similar through the outlook as well. Plenty of sunshine on the cards and feeling very warm.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Well, we have found some peacocks, so we've been speaking to people today, hearing from them how much of a nuisance they say they are. It is a real mix though here. Some people saying that actually they're all right, that they're part of the furniture of this village now. You can see this peacock here showing all of its feathers. I'm going to be very honest with you, we have just seen it attempt to mate the peahen that you can see behind it there. And this showing of feathers is part of the thing, what they do to try, part of the mating call here as well, to try and show all of the feathers off and everything like that. And there's a thing that they do train rattling as well. I wonder if Mr. Peacock might talk to us. Mr. Peacock, would you?
Come on, Jack. Come on, Jack. We need you to get involved.
I'm not sure. It's GB News, Jack
This is your big David Attenborough moment, Jack.
Any questions to say to the nuisance you might be causing people? Any response?
Although this feels a little bit intimate now, if there's a bit of a moment going on. It's all got a bit voyeuristic.
Very happy to talk to us so far this morning, but some residents of Tutbury here have spoken to us this morning. Take a listen to what they've told us about what they think about all these peacocks.
They've been here longer than I have, so I've lived in the house I live in at the top here 47 years. They've been there all that time, because they were from the castle to start with. The people at the castle used to have them, and they're just part of the village.
I hate them. When they do all that damage, it's heartbreaking, you know. Yeah, round them up and take them to a farm or a zoo, where they're supposed to be.
They're like the furniture. They should stay around here. You know, people just need to let them get on with what they are. They're nature's animals, and they deserve to live around here, don't they?
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Right, time for the papers this morning at 7:46 with author and journalist Emma Wolfe and the legendary broadcaster Pete Price. Good morning to you both. Should we start with the Sunday Times? Emma, Highgrove is losing its harmony.
This story, really, not a lot surprises me. This story really surprised me, I have to say. Highgrove is one of the King's residences. He is a passionate gardener. We know that. He's a passionate environmentalist. The King likes to take his daily walks. When he's at Highgrove, he likes to take his daily walkabout. He likes to give feedback to the staff. He likes to quiz them. In recent years, things have got very unhappy with the gardening team, the head gardening team at Highgrove. They have lost 11 out of the 12 gardeners since March 2022. That is a lot of staff. You don't turn down, you don't chuck in a job at Highgrove if you're a gardener. I don't imagine there are wonderful, lots and lots of gardening jobs going up, beautiful royal gardening kind of venues. Anyway, including head gardeners. Let me just read you what happened when he was walking. He was doing a walkabout, and he was talking to a probationary gardener, so presumably a young lad or a trainee gardener. And the gardener made a factual error about a flower. And you know what King Charles said? Don't put that man in front of me again.
Joking.
It's really bullying behaviour. It's really, and I'm not an anti-monarchist at all. But this actually is, it catalogues really unpleasant behaviour, actually, from King Charles towards his staff.
But gardeners
low pay, low morale.
Gardeners can earn a fortune these days. You can't, where I live up north, you can't get gardeners. You really can't get gardeners. And it's...
Working at Highgrove is quite different. Working for King Charles
at Highgrove. Are they paid well?
No, very low pay.
Well, precisely. So why... No, you've still got to make a living. You've still got to put food in the fridge.
Yeah, you do. And do you think that's an acceptable way for King Charles to speak to people? To a young gardener who got something about a flower wrong, don't put that man in front of me again.
If he said it,
not nice.
Acceptable.
Bullying.
If he said it, if it's wrong.
Talking about being rude to people, Pete, your story in the Mail about doctors, what are they doing to patients?
Well, you see, it says here, so fat shaming for doctors who told patients surgery will be tricky as you're carrying 2 suitcases.
So they're fat shaming patients, basically?
Yes, and apparently there's been 74 complaints. How many people are there in this world, in this country? I mean, I'm sorry, if you're overweight, you've got to be told somehow because you're not learning. I do apologise to people who've got problems, but, you know, you've got to learn. And one doctor did say, though, you can't see out your eyes because you're too fat. Your fat's too fat. Your face is too... Can't even talk at this time of day. Your face is too fat and you can't see out your eyes. I don't think doctors have got enough to do without putting complaints in about them. And the only way you get overweight in general is by putting that in your mouth with food in it.
Pete, there are ways of doing it, though, aren't there? Obesity is a massive... It's the biggest... Well, it's the biggest killer, but it's also the biggest cost to the NHS. It's costing the NHS billions. So, yes, absolutely, in primary care and within hospitals, and especially before surgery, doctors do need to talk straight to people and explain to them surgery, you know, the outcomes are not going to be good if you're carrying huge amounts of extra weight, if you're morbidly obese. But there are ways of doing it. There are ways of saying that in a nice way, not you're carrying 2 extra suitcases. I mean, that's just not kind.
Maybe they've tried every other way of talking to them. Maybe now they're saying, there's nothing else to say. I've got to give you... You're holding 2 bags of sugar in your hand. That's the weight you carry.
Is that effective? Do you think that morbidly obese people don't walk around anyway feeling ashamed?
I don't. I do sort of... I'm a bit torn on this one.
If straight talking was going to work, then great.
Well, yeah. I sort of think there reaches a point where you need to just straight talk.
Maybe, but I think that probably pushes people into more comfort eating and shame.
It might do. It might.
There's a lovely story by it, by the way. Morrison's £129 for the fat jab. But they've got them on show next to the sweets, the donuts... the multi-bags of crisps, sausage rolls, and Ben & Jerry.
Buy this, you can eat this.
But the thing is, you don't eat that then because you can only eat tiny wee portions.
Well,
and then they make you feel sick. Yeah. But the whole fat-shaming thing, I remember when I was a kid being told by the GP that I had childbearing hips. I was, like, literally traumatised. Does that mean I'm fat, Mum? Does that mean I'm fat? It's like, you've got to be careful what you say to people.
Well, you should have childbearing
you've got to be careful, but you've also got to make them realise if they don't do something about the weight, they're going to die. End of story. Yeah. They're going to die. So, you know, hey...
OK, well, we've had bitchy kings and bitchy doctors. Now, let's talk about this story you've got in the Mail, Pete. Women aren't bitchy to each other at work.
I love it.
It's blokes' fault.
It's Amanda Holder, and Amanda is a mate of mine, but I'm sorry, she can be as bitchy as anyone. She had to go at Holly Willoughby. She had to go at Sharon Osbourne.
She did,
and you don't have a go at Sharon Osbourne.
You don't, do you?
Have we got a photo of Sharon? I was with her the other night. There we are. I went to Ozzy Osbourne's concert.
Oh, did you?
Yes, so which was a piece of rock history.
Oh,
she's a dear friend of mine. She takes no rubbish, and if you upset her and bitch with her, especially about a family, you get a little package through the post of something from her dog.
Oh,
as a
dear.
thank you, yes. But Amanda having a go in our business, in our industry. Bitchiness is alive. I mean, if you heard what went on here in between when we're talking, that's wicked.
Well, Dawn has got a reputation for it, to be fair.
Hold on.
She's got a reputation.
I was just going to say, but Amanda...
I think what they're talking about, though, is the kind of women hating on other women. Sorry, that's horrible. Women hating on other women. And I'm really glad that we're discussing this with Dawn, because Dawn is one of those women, so rare in media, who helps other women. She's not one of those women. No, seriously, and I mean this completely...
Is this a different Dawn or this Dawn?
Yeah, this is Dawn Neeson. This is Dawn Neeson. She's such a rare thing. Dawn is a girl's girl, a real one, not someone who pulls up the ladder after her, not someone who says, sorry, I can't help you with that. Dawn actually wants to promote and help other younger women.
That's great.
I really do.
Excuse me, I arrived. I love this woman so much. I went to hug her and she went, you shrunk.
She did.
Oh, God, yeah. But I have got very high heels on. That was a bit mean.
So, shrunk.
Now I feel terrible.
No, but I just think...
you don't!
Dawn, you can pay me later.
But there are lots of... I mean, it happens in this business with men and women, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's such a bitchy industry.
People want to climb the greasy pole and make sure nobody
And there's only...
follows them.
It's not like a regular thing where everybody can become a senior accountant. There's only a few of the kind of top roles, and so it's a very bitchy, personality-led.
It's so bad that if I went there to the loo, these three would be having a go at me straight away.
Oh, you're not kidding. We wouldn't even wait for you to go.
He's actually still here. Oh, God. Just can't get rid of him when you get
wait for you to go.
There's also a lot of love and a lot of warmth and affection between people as well, though, because you sort of...
But I tell you what, all this now, bants, as they call it, you can't really do it now because people take offence.
You better be really careful, exactly.
Take offence, don't they? It's horrific.
Well, I was upset that I'd shrunk.
Well, that you shrunk.
It's just I've got high... Oh,
No,
my
no,
God,
I shrunk.
I feel terrible.
Dawn is
As you get older,
incredibly
I've lost an inch and height as well.
Good things come... Stop it, Peter Pan.
Anyway, we're going off air now. Thanks very much. Here's the weather.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers. Sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. There's a lot of heavy and thundery showers around on Saturday, and Sunday's looking pretty similar too, though perhaps feeling a little less humid than it has done recently. An area of low pressure sits down towards the southwest of the UK with various bands of rain and showers swirling around, pushing their way northwards as we go towards Sunday afternoon. We'll continue to see some longer spells of rain across parts of northern Scotland through Sunday afternoon, but almost anywhere could see a shower. But between those showers, there will be a bit more brightness than we saw on Saturday, some sunshine, and feeling pleasantly warm in that sunshine too. 24 to 26 degrees across the south and into the low 20s further north. As we then look ahead to Sunday evening, we'll still continue to see those showers across the southern half of the country, perhaps a little drier across the immediate south coast for a time. Some late sunshine possible here. But across parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, across much of Scotland, we'll continue to see those heavy downpours through Sunday evening. However, the very far northeast of Scotland, perhaps holding on to some lower cloud, some mist and murk, perhaps some rain and drizzle over any high ground here. As we then go through the rest of Sunday evening, it will turn a little drier across northern parts of England, parts of Wales, southwest England too, but further showers pushing up from the south, affecting southern and eastern parts of England into the early hours of Monday morning, and further showers as well across Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland, perhaps merging to some longer spells of rain here too. Not quite as mild as what we saw on Friday and Saturday night, but temperatures still widely into the double figures. And that does mean quite a mild but damp start for many of us on Monday morning, although perhaps a little bit brighter across northern parts of England, Wales and southwest England too. Almost anywhere could see a shower bubbling up through the afternoon, and once again these could be heavy. There could be some hail and thunder mixed in, some longer spells of rain across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. But where you do catch the sunshine, once again feeling pleasantly warm with highs into the low 20s, even across the north as we head through the afternoon.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Foreign nationals reportedly flying into Britain to use the NHS, costing us around £200 million.
The government had pledged to crack down on the practice, but it's said to be thriving, putting more pressure on an already overstretched health service.
So with millions struggling to get a doctor's appointment, how long can we afford to run what's becoming an international health service?
Well, we have huge waits to get treatment, but the NHS is wasting hundreds of millions on treating foreigners. This is money, surely, that we can't afford.
And another major data breach. The Army launches an urgent investigation after the names of SAS soldiers were reportedly left online for over a decade, despite repeated warnings. It's left the Defence Secretary furious and us asking who's protecting the people who protect us.
As Chief Prosecutor, to keep our streets safe, and I'll do the same as Prime Minister.
A bombshell new poll reveals nearly half the country thinks Britain has become lawless and they don't trust the government or the police to fix it. So with confidence collapsing, who's really going to take back control of our streets?
And yes, amid growing fury over record sewage spills and rising bills, the government is pledging to halve pollution by 2030. But is this bold reform or just more proof that it's time to nationalise Britain's waterways?
And if you haven't booked your summer getaway yet, travel giants are slashing prices in a last-minute push to fill planes. It's worth getting online and checking.
Alexander Usyk became the undisputed boxing heavyweight champion of the world for a second time after knocking out Britain's Daniel Dubois in front of a packed Wembley Stadium last night. We'll have reaction to that later this hour.
There's more rain, showers and perhaps thunderstorms on the cards for many of us over the next couple of days, but perhaps feeling a little less humid than it's felt recently. Join me later for the full forecast with all the details.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Dawn Newsroom, and this is GB News Breakfast.
This horrible craze at the moment, which takes me back to the 80s of mullets. All these men with mullets.
Do you remember Chris Waddle?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Good one, wasn't it?
It's awful. I hate it. I hated it back then. I thought it just looked awful.
So what's bringing it back in?
Well, I'll tell you what it is.
Go on, tell me.
It's Stranger Things on Netflix.
Really?
Because it was set in the 80s and all the main characters had all the hairstyles. That's what's brought it back in.
OK.
And this big 80s trend at the
Stranger
moment.
Things was a couple of years ago, though, no?
Oh, yeah, but this has been going on for a couple of years.
Oh, I see.
This has been going on for a couple of years. But anyway, women want it now.
Yeah, exactly. Hottest lovers have the hairstyle, evidently. So if you've got a mullet.
What, Catherine?
Can I say something about mullets?
Yeah,
a couple of years ago, Stranger Things. Yeah, my now 16-year-old had a mullet 2 years ago for quite a long time, and I hated it with a passion. However, then last year he got a buzz cut and he had pretty much no hair, and I hated that even more. Now he's got hair again, but I can see the mullet is beginning to re-emerge.
Oh, no, stop him, Catherine.
But the girls will go mad for. I know, as your mum, you don't want to think about it, but the girls will go mad for him.
I don't think the mullet was ever a good look, but yeah, some of the girls are.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, we're showing some mullet examples on screen there now, and some of them aren't bad.
Well,
Billy the Fish one, wasn't it? That was a good one.
Yeah.
But honestly, I just think it's an awful look. But yeah, it's
Will Young.
It's Will Young.
That's not really a mullet, though.
It's not really a mullet. Oh, that's an. I don't know who that is. I can't see from here.
It's one of those.
It's a guitarist.
Yeah, looks like someone from Spandau Ballet or something.
Nick Kershaw?
It might be Nick Kershaw.
Is it Nick Kershaw?
Our monitors are really far away and our eyesight isn't that good. It might be Nick. Now, Nick Kershaw, he was a great performer, Nick Kershaw.
He was.
The thing is, if you watch those...
It's an awful look.
If you watch those Top of the Pops from back in the day now, because, you know, we do that a lot now, because it's like reminiscing when you get to our advanced stage, and you look at the fashions back in the day and you think, did we really do that? And the makeup. Blue eyeshadow. Ladies?
You had a punky thing going on, Dawn, years ago, didn't you, when I first met
Sorry?
you? You had a bit of a punky thing going on.
Oh, yeah. I shaved all my hair off when I was 13. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Never owned a hairdryer.
It's only just growing back.
Oh, yes. Never owned a hairdryer.
Right.
What's your excuse?
I do own a hairdryer.
I cut my brother's hair once. I cut my brother's hair once back in 1986. I got a good hiding for it by my parents.
Oh,
I bet you did.
Yeah.
Serves you right. Anyway, look, let's crack on, because health tourism has left the NHS with a £200 million black hole.
That's despite years of government pledges to crack down on abuse of the system.
Well, there are new figures which have been obtained by the Sunday Express, which reveal foreign nationals racking up huge treatment bills over the last 5 years. And apparently, it's costing us £110,000 every day.
That's incredible. So is this yet another example of soft-touch Britain and a black hole that needs plugging in the government's finances?
Let's talk to our political correspondent, Catherine Forster, who, as you know, is here. This is... I mean, it's scandalous, actually, because, I mean, it's not even people who've come to the country illegally or whatever. It's people who are literally coming here to use the service and then going home again.
Well, indeed, and at a time that we're still all feeling the cost of living crisis, there's millions of people on NHS waiting lists. You struggle to get a doctor's appointment. This is the sort of thing that makes people very, very, very cross. So there's one Barts Health Trust, one London Trust, has lost 40 million because of this. Most of these trusts are in London, because, of course, large numbers of people coming and going. So 40 million a year, this is costing the NHS. In theory, what happens is that foreigners coming to the country, if they need treatment on the NHS, have got to pay. But obviously, if somebody needs emergency treatment, they are given it. And what often happens is people are treated and they're billed later. And there's many suggestions that this, in fact, these numbers are just the tip of the iceberg, because often if it's clear there's no hope of getting this money back, the bills are not even issued. And then there's many bills that are issued but not paid. So, yeah, it's pretty dreadful. The most sort of infamous example of this was there was a Nigerian woman, I think let's call her Priscilla, I think was the name she was given, that not her real name. And basically she landed in Britain. She needed treatment. She was having 4 babies.
She was.
And that treatment at St Mary's ended up costing the NHS, by extension the British taxpayer, £330,000. So a third of £1 million. I think one more point is, of course, this is a tiny, tiny, tiny drop in the ocean of total NHS costs, because the budget for 24-25 for the NHS as a whole is £177 billion.
But what irritates me with this, as much as it's purely wrong, is the fact that, I mean, that 200 million isn't a vast, as you say, in the scheme of things, isn't a lot of money. However, it's about as much, isn't it, as they think they'll raise from the farmers' inheritance tax. I mean, it's a similar sort of ballpark.
Yeah, although the numbers in the NHS and, you know, the numbers that are spent in public services are massive, still 40 million a year, 110,000 a day is a lot of money that could be used much better to benefit.
Well, it could be getting those waiting lists down. We know so many people are waiting for cancer treatment at the moment, not going to be helped by the looming doctors' strike. What did the government say about this, Catherine?
Well, the government, this government, other governments are trying to get this down. This figure is actually up, I understand, a little bit on the previous year. There are supposed to be these systems in place, but look, there's often a difference between what's supposed to happen and what actually happens in reality.
I mean, it's difficult to know quite how they do tackle it, because if it's emergency cases... I mean, they say, you know, if it's not an emergency case, you have to pay up front. But if it's an emergency case, obviously that isn't going to happen. But then how do you start billing? I mean, this is... I can see it's not easy, but...
I think it's very difficult. I mean, people like Lee Anderson from Reform are saying, look, we wouldn't tolerate this. This is a scam. We would stop it. But governments say they're going to crack down, aren't they? They're going to stop it. They've got various ways in which they're going to do it. And, you know, it doesn't work, much like the water companies. They say they're going to ban bonuses, but then they find other ways of paying water bosses vast amounts of money. They give them fines. They go, we can't afford it, you know, and so on and so forth.
Now, not many people are in that situation like that lady who literally turn up on the doorstep expecting quads, I think it was. But what is wrong with doing it the American way? If you go to America and you fall ill, you hand your credit card over, or you don't get treated.
Well, you do. And, I mean, America are exceedingly hardcore, aren't they, about healthcare? You do. But even with that, I mean, when you hand over your credit card, you don't know necessarily how much something is going to actually cost, what the final cost is going to be. People have got so much money on their credit card, 1,000, 2,000, whatever. What happens then? How do you know how much to... Often, the final cost is not going to be clear till after that person's been treated and has been discharged, at which point they're back wherever. How are you going to get that money off?
I mean, the issue here also seems to be that it's... I mean, there will be some people who turn up and they become ill and it doesn't get paid, what have you. But there must be a significant number of people who are travelling specifically because we are seen to be a soft touch, which is why you need a strong message out there to say we're not going to tolerate it.
You do, but, you know, I think this is the feeling with many people now, that we are still all in the middle of a cost of living crisis. We're paying more tax than ever before, and yet public services, British people who live here, feel that we don't have the basics. Now, I know that ambulance service is much better now, but it's only going back a year or two where people that were having heart attacks were waiting 20 minutes or longer. People were dying because ambulances didn't come. So, you know, it's all very well governments say we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but the reality is that these systems in place to get money off people are not working very well.
Very good at getting money off us.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean,
they know where we live, you know.
Yeah. And that's it, isn't it? Yeah, hand your national insurance number over, hand your national health number over, hand your address over, you get treated. If not, sorry.
I do. I know people
You're
don't
not
like
going to let
it.
people die in A&E.
No, I'm
Well,
not,
no,
but that's the problem.
No.
But realistically, how many of them are literally on death's door?
Well, would you risk it?
Well, at least it's going to help something, hasn't it? Someone's got to do something. It's been just going on and
I
on
think
and on.
it pushes the argument for ID cards. But I know a lot of you don't like the idea of ID cards and you think it's too much, it's too invasive and you shouldn't have to prove that you're British and all the rest of it. But I think we're reaching a point where it's just going to have to be done.
You know, Stephen, if it gets waiting list down, if it saves you money...
It helps with the immigration issue, you know.
It's something that I asked the Prime Minister about, I think, sometime late last year. ID cards, we know that Tony Blair is very keen on it because there's plenty of people saying
that helps.
that will help reduce the pull factors of people crossing the Channel on small boats who know that you get here, you can disappear into the black economy, whereas much of Europe has ID cards and that is much harder. That is a pull factor, and yeah, there would be a lot of opposition, but you can see an argument that the government could make for it. Now, the Prime Minister has said to me, no, we're not looking at that, but we are going to crack down on illegal working. But look, I think we can all see high streets up and down the country, places that are maybe not being operated as they should be.
Yeah. All right, Catherine, thank you. We'll see you a little bit later on where we have had a response to the Department of Health over all of this. Says just as Brits have to pay abroad for healthcare, so should visitors to this country. Last year, the NHS identified and recovered payments from more overseas visitors than in any previous year since records began.
Meanwhile, an NHS spokesperson has said the NHS is committed to delivering the best possible value for taxpayers' money. If a patient needs non-urgent care, full payment must be secured in advance of treatment being given. And only when treatment is deemed urgent or immediately necessary should it be provided without that in place.
Right, a damning poll for the government out today. Another one, because Brits say they have no faith in Labour or the police force to keep us safe.
Yeah, and now shocking statistics. 74% of those asked said knife crime was out of control in the country. 60% said the same of violent crime. And for theft, it was at 70% again. Asked what caused this crime wave, immigration came out on top, followed closely by economic inequality and lenient sentencing.
The survey also reveals Nigel Farage is more trusted than any other politician, including Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch, to keep Britain safe.
OK, we're now joined by Head of Crime and Justice at Policy Exchange, David Spencer. David, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, they are damning statistics here. I mean, people are very, very unhappy with the service they're getting from the whole legal system from start to finish. What do you make of what's going on here?
Good morning. Well, I don't think it's really a huge surprise that this is what the public think. We've seen in the last 10 years that knife crime's gone up about 90%. In the last 3 years, we've seen robberies up a third. Shoplifting is now at the highest levels ever recorded. So it shouldn't be a surprise to any of us when we've got this sort of epidemic of crime wave going on our streets that this is what the public are thinking. And when Policy Exchange looked at these issues earlier this year and last year, we asked the public, one of the questions we asked them was, do you think that the police and the government are getting things about right? Do you want a softer approach to crime, a tougher approach to crime? And what they told Policy Exchange very clearly was that the public wanted a far tougher approach to crime. Now, that's not hugely surprising, perhaps, but what is surprising is that that was the answer across every single demographic group. It doesn't matter how old you are, what ethnicity you are, what your economic background, and even supporters of every single political party want a tougher approach to crime. And when we see the crime that's happening on our streets, and you can see some of the scenes of it on the footage at the moment, it is unsurprising the public want unequivocally a tougher approach to crime.
Is it possible to pin down why we've seen the escalation, David, and therefore what we need to do to fix this?
Well, I think that one of the things that's often forgotten in this debate is that the principal cause of crime is criminals. And a lot of those people are, quite frankly, wicked. And unfortunately, we send nowhere near enough of them to prison. The reality is, again, Policy Exchange has looked at this data. even the most prolific criminals get away, having been convicted with another crime, of not going to prison. So you can have, actually, if you look at the data, 75 previous convictions in court, 75, and actually in over half of cases, you'll get away with a community sentence and a slap on the wrist. You won't go to prison. So that's the case in 54%. And you need to have like 75 convictions and you still don't go to prison. So I think the public are pretty shocked by this, and that's what the poll you're talking about today is revealing.
Yeah, and many other people taking part in this poll do blame sky-high immigration and the failure to integrate to fueling the crime wave. What do you say to that?
Well, we've got thousands of foreign national offenders in our prisons at the moment. Nowhere near enough of them are being sent back to their country of origin. And the reality is, because we're filling our prisons with those people, there are other offenders that are getting away with it with a community slap on the wrist. So every single foreign national offender should be being sent back to their country of origin. There is absolutely no reason for us to turn around in this country and say, actually, you've committed crimes here, then you should be able to stay. And Policy Exchange has recommended that a number of times. So foreign national offenders absolutely should not have the right to remain in this country.
What about confidence? Because you've got to have public confidence in a system, haven't you? I mean, particularly law and order. And when we're seeing, as you said, a lot of people committing what we would perceive to be, you know, even just sort of bog-standard crimes, your theft, your burglary, your vandalism, car theft, all that sort of thing, not getting any custodial sentence, but obviously some tweeters are getting that. And even, I mean, I noticed Jeremy Clarkson saying, the people who cut down the Sycamore Gap tree, they got quite a hefty custodial sentence. Now, it might have been an awful thing that they did, but there are a lot more serious crimes when people are just getting away with it.
Yeah, and it does feel like when you look at whether it's the police or the courts, the criminal justice system as a whole, it does feel like lots of things are just awry in lots of different ways. So, you know, one of the things that we've talked about before is non-crime hate incidents. You know, we are seeing thousands of these things being recorded every single year. We've said at Policy Exchange that we believe that they pose a chilling effect on free speech, and they're a huge distraction from what the police should be focusing on, which is crime. And yet thousands of these things are being recorded every single year. So, you know, when you ask the public, you know, do you think your local police force is doing a good job? Certainly in the big cities, most people do not say yes. You know, you're talking about rates of 40, 45, 44% of people say the police do a good job, and that's just not good enough.
David, just quickly and finally, do you think the government will take, or any politician will take any notice of this survey, though? Nothing. We have all these surveys and nothing seems to get done.
Well, I think they certainly should, because when we've looked at this sort of data and we ask people, and not just us, but others as well, when we ask people how important is this and how is this likely to affect how you're going to vote in a few years' time, then the message is pretty loud and clear and should be very, very worrying for people in number 10. What people want is the police to be tough on crime, for the criminal justice system to send the most prolific offenders to prison. And if the government doesn't deliver on that, people will look at political parties that say they will.
OK, David Spencer, thank you. It's not right at the moment. And I noticed that the Sycamore Gap thing, it struck me because it was Jeremy Clarkson saying it in his column yesterday. So they got, I mean, what they did was a terrible thing. But ultimately, they cut down a tree. Yeah. And they got 4 years and 3 months in prison.
That's right, yeah, it was over 4 years, wasn't it?
And when you get these other people doing some pretty awful stuff, including some sex stuff and all the rest of it, who get far less than that.
Suspended sentences.
And sometimes suspended sentences. Yeah.
But there's this story, part of this survey here. A criminal convicted of 59 offences was jailed for stabbing offences, violent offences, jailed for just 33 months. 59 offences involving knife crime.
I mean, how does that make sense?
What deterrent and punishment is that?
So you need a system where you can see how it works in terms of severity. I mean, anyway. No, we can't
Don't get him started, no.
No. Right, let's have a look at some other stories this morning.
Yes.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! From Hamas! End apartheid!
OK.
Well, more than 100 people protesting against the ban on Palestine action have been arrested in towns and cities across the UK. Demonstrations held in Parliament Square in London, in Manchester, Edinburgh, Bristol and Truro, after the group was officially designated as a proscribed terrorist organisation a couple of weeks ago.
And at least 30 people have been injured, with 3 in a critical condition after a vehicle was driven into a crowd in Los Angeles. The incident took place on Santa Monica Boulevard, close to Hollywood. Cameras in the area are still being examined, but the Los Angeles Police Department says the incident appears to have been intentional.
At least 34 people have died after a tourist boat capsized in stormy weather in Halong Bay in Vietnam. It had 53 people on board when it tipped over. Most of the tourists were from the capital, Hanoi. Storm Whipper brought strong winds, heavy rain and lightning.
There's so many of those happening now, the tourist boats tipping over. I mean, we were sort of like in America earlier this year, and there was a boat on one of the lakes we were nearby, and it was just like literally freak weather.
Are they overloaded or what? I don't
Well, that
know.
was America. You expect maybe in America there'd be more stringent health and safety. I don't know. In any case, let's go. Let's see what the weather's like here, shall we, with Ellie? Hopefully it's stopped raining out there.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. There's a lot of heavy and thundery showers around on Saturday, and Sunday's looking pretty similar too, though perhaps feeling a little less humid than it has done recently. An area of low pressure sits down towards the southwest of the UK, with various bands of rain and showers swirling around, pushing their way northwards as we go towards Sunday afternoon. We'll continue to see some longer spells of rain across parts of northern Scotland through Sunday afternoon, but almost anywhere could see a shower. But between those showers, there will be a bit more brightness than we saw on Saturday, some sunshine, and feeling pleasantly warm in that sunshine too. 24 to 26 degrees across the south and into the low 20s further north. As we then look ahead to Sunday evening, we'll still continue to see those showers across the southern half of the country, perhaps a little drier across the immediate south coast for a time. Some late sunshine possible here. But across parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, across much of Scotland, we'll continue to see those heavy downpours through Sunday evening. However, the very far northeast of Scotland, perhaps holding on to some lower cloud, some mist and murk, perhaps some rain and drizzle over any high ground here. As we then go through the rest of Sunday evening, it will turn a little drier across northern parts of England, parts of Wales, southwest England too, but further showers pushing up from the south, affecting southern and eastern parts of England into the early hours of Monday morning, and further showers as well across Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland, perhaps merging to some longer spells of rain here too. Not quite as mild as what we saw on Friday and Saturday night, but temperatures still widely into the double figures. And that does mean quite a mild but damp start for many of us on Monday morning, although perhaps a little bit brighter across northern parts of England, Wales and southwest England too. Almost anywhere could see a shower bubbling up through the afternoon, and once again these could be heavy. There could be some hail and thunder mixed in, some longer spells of rain across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. But where you do catch the sunshine, once again feeling pleasantly warm with highs into the low 20s, even across the north as we head through the afternoon.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Our time is running out. If you want to get your hands on £54,321 in tax-free cash, here's how you enter.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you can win our biggest cash prize so far. £54,321 in tax-free cash is up for grabs in our summer Great British giveaway. Cash to spend on anything you like. All of that cash could send you on a holiday, boost your savings, or just send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing. Lines close on the 1st of August, so make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text cash to 63222 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck indeed. OK, still to come is the nationalisation, the only way to save Britain's waterways. That's all next. This is GB News. Don't go too far. We'll see you soon.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as
and now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
An amber heat alert remains in place across all of England until Monday morning.
Well, joining us now, GB News reporter Jack Carson. Jack Carson, where are you? Tell us. Oh, he's rowing. Jack Carson, what a go on?
Good morning. Good morning. Well, we're in the beautiful Stratford-upon-Avon, so we were on the big wheel earlier on, and one of the other beautiful things you can do is also row on the river as well. This is the Avon Boating Club. This has been going since the 1800s, 1898 it started. This boat over here on the right, that was bought brand new all the way back in the day, so it's historic here, and a lot of these boats are from the likes of the 1930s as well, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And it's this beautiful sunny weather. Here we are on the river. I've never rowed in my life before, but I think I've got the hang of it okay. But let's have a listen to a few of the people we've spoken to this morning about how they're enjoying the weather today.
Yesterday I did start to think, right, I'm getting a bit sweaty and hot now, so yeah, but it's nice, isn't it? As long as there's a breeze, it's not too bad.
Can't beat it. Literally the best thing ever. Yay!
They make the most of it because the winter was terrible this year with all the rain, so this is payback.
It makes us feel better, doesn't it? Bit of sun on our bones. It really does.
Enjoying the weather, Will? Nice? Sunny? Chatty? Well, there you go. That's what some people have been saying to us this morning about how they're enjoying the weather. I think I've got myself into a bit of a pickle. Hopefully we're not going to capsize. I think other people might be a bit more experienced in the rowing.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It is just coming up to 8:30 now. Britain's water industry is under intense scrutiny. Sweeping reforms are expected to be unveiled tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. And one of the key recommendations, replacing the current regulator, Ofwat, with a new and even more powerful body.
But with that in mind, because is it just a change of name, basically, we're asking, is it about time they were renationalised?
OK, we're joined now by journalist and author Ross Clark and oyster producer Tom Hayward. Who wants to go first? Let's go with you, Ross. OK, the water industry, as we know, is not doing well in any area apart from the shareholders who are on billions of pounds of profits. What do we do with it?
Well, I'm not generally in favour of
nationalising things, but even less am I in favour of bailing out private companies which have mortgaged their assets and paid themselves fat dividends. And what happened with the water industry? I mean, these companies were picked up the public assets, reservoirs, pipes and whatever, debt-free back in 1989 when they were privatised. They then took out large debts against those assets, effectively mortgaged them, and paid themselves fat dividends, salaries, bonuses, and what have you. And now some of those companies are in trouble. And I'm afraid if you're going to advocate capitalism, you have to allow companies to go bust. You know, that is what happens with capitalism. And unfortunately, we've got this sort of strange hybrid industry where the private companies are allowed to take the profits, but the taxpayers seem to be expected to pick up the tab every time. And I'm afraid that's just not on. And if, you know, you've got companies which are in trouble, I think they should be allowed to go bust and the government pick up those assets from the receiver on the cheap.
OK. Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that sentiment. As an oyster producer, our livelihoods are based on water and clean water, and not having to have that fear of negligent water companies potentially destroying us. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I completely agree with that in the sense that you can't just keep putting a company in billions of pounds of debt just to pay shareholders in other countries who don't really care about the quality of our water or whether or not it's going to affect people, the British public. So for me, I believe that if you nationalise it, I mean, at the end of the day, if a company's in massive debt and worth nothing, then it's not going to cost the taxpayer loads of money to buy that company if a company's worth nothing. And then that money that the taxpayer pays for water will then be not for profit and invested in the infrastructure that should have been invested in decades ago. Like we say, it was 1989, water was privatised. Well, why wasn't that investment in infrastructure done from then on? But it wasn't. It was just to make a lot of people very rich, and that surely shouldn't be done on the backs of taxpayers on something which is a human right, which is clean water.
I mean, that's the point, Ross, with this, isn't it? Is that you can't actually allow these companies just to completely fail because we are reliant on them for a basic human need.
Yeah, well, I think that there need to be two rules before anything is privatised. The first rule is there must be competition. There's no point in privatising things, swapping a state monopoly for a private monopoly if you're not going to have competition. The second rule is the entity which you're privatising has to be allowed to go bust. And there never has been a proper protocol of what happens when a water company or, you know, other public utility company gets into trouble. And there should have been, right from the beginning, it should have been written down. If this company gets into trouble, then the assets revert to the taxpayer. I think we should, in these cases, public utilities, we should never privatise the assets. We should have held on to the assets, maybe involve private companies running the operation, but to hand over the assets to these companies, then just invited them to mortgage them and you know, rather than investing. And you know, the last new reservoir in Britain, significant one, was built in the 1970s. We've had no underinvestment in the supply of water through reservoirs. We've also had underinvestment in the management of sewage and so on. And we've still got this legacy Victorian system where the engineers are very admirable water engineers in many ways, but they made this fateful decision to combine the foul sewage with the storm drainage, which basically means that, you know, when it rains heavily, the sewage works are unable to cope and they have to be bypassed and raw sewage released into the river. Now, to put that right, it's going to cost billions of pounds, and it's clearly not going to happen under the sort of water industry as it is constructed at the moment.
Can I just bring Tom back in on the subject of sewage? Because, Tom, you actually took the government to court over dumping of sewage into the seas. Obviously, it's very important for your business. So, I mean, do you trust the government to run the water industries any better than private companies?
It's a good question. I mean, I took the Conservative government to court. I'm not sure that the current government there'd be much difference. I don't know in regards to what they feel anyway. Like, they've been fair. I mean, during campaigning, Labour were quite vocal about this whole issue, but then they've gone quite silent over it now. Really, I know we've got this look at Ofwat, etc., coming tomorrow, but there hasn't actually been much going on in regards to how the government feels. So, but at the end of the day, you've got a lot of MPs who are elected by us to serve us, and like the court case we took the government on, that raised the issue so much within public awareness, and a lot of the public are very angry about what's going on with the quality of water and with the dumping of sewage. So you've got a lot of MPs who could lose their jobs if they don't listen to the general public over something as important as this, which is potentially going to damage businesses and can make people really unwell. So I don't. Do I trust any government? This is a big question. But at the end of the day, when you put it on the line, and that these people know, these MPs know that essentially if they don't listen to us, they could lose their jobs. And a lot of them are doing very well out of being in government. So maybe it's just this is the knock on the door that actually starts to make people realise how important this is, and the government should listen or they lose their jobs. Because let's face it, there's a lot of anger towards government, whatever government is in, and a lot of the time, people know, MPs know, they're kind of fighting for their jobs all the time, and this is one area where they will really have to fight for their jobs.
Yeah, they need to be reminded of it, don't they? Tom Hayward, Ross Clark, really good to see you both. Thank you very much indeed.
It's constantly, no matter what we're talking about, Stephen, keep going back to are the politicians listening to the people?
Did they ever?
No, absolutely.
Aidan's going to be here. He's got all the sport for you in just a moment.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Right, Aidan, get your gloves on.
Oh, goodness me. Well, two men did last night and they produced a decent show. It was very one-sided in the end. That's not a criticism of Daniel Dubois, who had a game plan, but sadly it unravelled very quickly. And Alexander Usyk, I'm convinced we are in the presence of greatness here, one of the greatest of all time.
What's he got in the... I mean, you look at the two side by side, and Dubois, you know, he's
bigger,
he's beefier.
Probably a harder puncher.
Yeah, but so what's Usyk got that makes him,
in a word,
such a champion?
Everything. If you want to fight him toe-to-toe early on. We were saying yesterday, if Dubois wants to get it done, he's got to get it done early. Well, actually, Usyk did that on him. He got him out there early. Maybe he had plans later on in the evening, I don't know. But he didn't go the distance. But if you want to go the distance, he'll take you the distance and he'll still beat you. And he's deferential, he's respectful, he's God-fearing, he's a likeable individual, and he fills arenas wherever he goes. And let's have a listen to him after the fight last night, because he suggested what might come next for him.
UK is like a second home, because this I take all my trophy. European champion, amateur boxing, London 2012, Tony Bellew, Chisora, Anthony Joshua, and 3-time and undisputed in Dubois. I'm very grateful for this country. Thank you so much. You're the best. Thank you.
He's very grateful for this country. We're also very grateful to him because he puts on a show wherever he is. He takes on all comers, and it's not the end. He's 38 years old, and he's a rest, but I think he'll be back, no question about that. And I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. A big fan. Thank you very much, Aidan. Indeed. OK. Well, OK. What do you think? gbnews.com/your say. I know I haven't read many out, but they're coming in, and I promise I will.
Will you?
Yes, I will. I'm going to, because some of them are actually quite nice.
They are good. It's just a really push for time today.
Yes.
But anyway, if you want a bit of holiday sun, here's the forecast for the European destinations.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
It's a bit of a mixed picture across Europe over the next couple of days, with plenty of showers around across parts of France, even northern parts of Italy too. Maybe even Madeira and the Canary Islands catching one or two isolated showers. But for parts of Spain, Portugal, Italy, even parts of Greece, there's plenty of sunshine on offer. And the southern Mediterranean seeing plenty of that sunshine, though perhaps a little breezy. Temperatures generally in the low to mid 30s and similar through the outlook as well. Plenty of sunshine on the cards and feeling very warm.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Is J.K. Rowling an extremist, radicalised TERF?
It's extraordinarily patronising to suggest that a woman who's created whole new magical worlds from her own imagination has to be radicalised by other people in order to form her own views. That in itself I find extremely patronising. And, you know, a man may think that women don't have our own rich inner life and form our own political views, but we do, as Nana's just demonstrated. But secondly, there's nothing radical about believing that men and women are material realities, and sometimes in law, in policy, in life, that matters. That's her position. It's a very common, in fact, it's a majority position. It's
James, what is a woman?
But that's no.
I'm just wondering. Well, it's just a simple question because no. I'm just asking, what is a woman then? Because do you believe that a man can become a woman and a woman can become a man?
Yes, because man and woman is gendered.
So what is a woman? So what is a woman?
There is male and there is female, which is sex. This is a problem that I think a lot of you have. I'm a feminist. I believe in women's rights. I believe in women's safety. But the problem here is we are focusing on an absolute minority of people who have no, when you look at it in the round, who have no threat to women. Statistically,
you don't know that. You listen.
In the way
you don't. The threat to women.
Sorry, not in the way that men are. This is the whole problem. Is that you saying man dressing up as a woman?
Yes.
That's despicable, Nana.
Well, it's the truth.
That is not the reality.
What else?
Nana, do you have any trans friends?
I have plenty of.
Do you mix with trans people?
I have mixed with trans people. I mix with all people.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
8:47, time for the papers with the author and broadcaster Emma Wolfe and the broadcaster Pete Price. We're cracking straight on, Emma, thank heavens, with the Sunday Express, looking at our despair about the economy.
Yeah, this is very depressing, and I think we would all agree about 7 out of 10 people think that the economy is going to get worse in the year ahead. There's a real kind of national gloom that seems to have settled over us. Obviously, it's worse with the rain at the moment. But, yeah, these are levels of pessimism sort of amongst Poles that we haven't seen since the 1980s. In April 1980, when Margaret Thatcher... There's a lovely picture of Margaret Thatcher. Kind of different era, totally different era of our nonsense politicians now. Anyway, she faced sort of industrial strife and very high inflation, all of that. And people's top concerns at the moment are immigration, the economy, healthcare, foreign affairs, and really high inflation again.
Yeah.
Not helped by the rest of the world and all the problems in Europe and America, and statements made by that president, who I won't say his name, that confuse people when they talk about tariffs. Well, so it's affecting everybody.
Interestingly, these are not the concerns that people are raising. So foreign affairs and even defence comes really low down the list. It is primarily in immigration that people are concerned about. Just to correct you, because... people on the left like to make out that everybody's concerned about the state of the world. Actually, when you ask people, they're really concerned about this country, the state of this country.
Isn't that because we're told all the time, 24/7, about how many boats are coming over? Isn't that just mind-blowing to everybody?
Well, yeah. I mean, the issue with it all is that they all... I mean, politicians of all stripes have, they say, yes, it's bad, we're going to tackle it. Nothing seems to happen.
Because no one's got the answer. What do you want to do? Let them drown? Let them die? No one has got the answer for this. No. Maybe Rwanda... Was a deterrent.
Yeah.
Maybe they had it right.
Not really, but certainly not one in, one out. I mean, that solves absolutely nothing. And it's not just the small boats. We're not talking about the 44,000 that have come in since Starmer's reign began. Yeah. It's the bigger picture, isn't it? It's the legal and...
Yeah, but how many people won't work in this country? So we need people coming in. There's nobody picking fruit. There's nobody working in the restaurants.
I think we need to be a bit tougher on that. And
make them work.
Get people to work.
That'll be an interesting one.
Get people
Human
into
rights.
education
I shouldn't work.
Talking of spouse rights, and as someone who has stalked my husband on her phone as an app, parents spying on their spouses by bugging kids' phones, Peter. What's this one about?
Parents are fighting over access with children in family courts and spying each day by placing recordings and tracking devices on their children's phones. In one extreme case, a woman woman went all overnight for 2 nights on the run to stop her husband seeing the children. What makes me angry about the whole thing is, I think these parents, and I'm from a broken home, I think some of these parents should understand the children need love from both sides, from two people.
Yeah.
Stop using children as a weapon. It makes me so angry. So angry.
It is, and that's appalling to use the children's phones as tracking devices to see what the other one is doing. That's just absolutely
Well,
not right,
mind
is it?
you, there's nothing wrong with having tracking devices on your kids' phones. For
Absolutely. You should be monitoring your children's smartphones and their usage.
But not to see what they're up to.
And not to use in
Look what happened to
battles.
Coldplay again. So it's that's what happens.
Well, Emma, in the Sunday Telegraph, we're finally going to tell children that worrying about something and feeling a little bit down is not a mental health problem.
And having a bad day is normal. Exactly my reaction. Finally, some common sense from the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson. She wants to send out guidance, or she is sending out guidance to schools to explain to students, young people, children, that actually we all have bad days. We all feel anxious sometimes. Guess what? You know, like the one about they don't want to turn up to job interviews because you feel anxious. That's the point of a job interview, to get anxious. That's when you perform well. Anxious, you know, depressed, even feeling low. That is normal. Unfortunately, she's only doing this because she's trying to tackle the welfare bill. She doesn't want, you know, millions of children not in education, employment or training, all of the needs. It's a big problem. You have people coming out of schools going onto benefits. 16 to 24-year-olds on benefits for life, effectively for life.
But I've said it before and I'll say it again. They're stuck in the room, on the phone, on the computer. They don't know what emotions they're going through because they're not meeting people anymore.
They're not.
They've got to meet people and talk.
Have relationships, share
and
problems.
Learn, ready for the job interview so we don't have to have immigrants coming in and we can put them in jobs.
Yeah, well...
Get that back in.
Yeah, well, no, it's right. But this whole idea that anyone feeling slightly anxious has got needs a mental health
day. And it does them a disservice as well. It does them a disservice. If you label children anxious, avoidant, anxiety disorder, all of this stuff, you slap a label on. I see it all the time with my 5-year-old. Kids with ADHD, they don't have ADHD, they don't have anxiety disorders. They're just being kids. They need to be talked to, they need to be told off, they need some discipline.
Can I just say that was a very nice on-the-spot correction, seeing as your son is 5 today.
Happy birthday, Ludo.
Happy birthday, Ludo.
Very nicely done, otherwise you'd have been in trouble when you got home. In the Sunday...
He doesn't have a television, by the way. He's not on social media or phone, so he doesn't see mummy on telly. But let's get it right, the age.
Yeah, better had. Sunday people, Pete.
I love it. Lights, camera, auction. Isn't that a great headline?
Very good.
Clever
Isn't
headline.
that a great headline? It's amazing the amount of money people are spending on memorabilia from films. I just love it. The latest one is £11 million was paid for Citizen Kane sled that slipped still just around and about there. It is there. 21 million were paid for Dorothy's slippers.
The red shoes.
The red shoes.
Wow.
The one that I love, though, £571,000 was paid for the plank of wood in the Titanic when they're hanging onto it in the water.
No.
Yeah, Dawn French. Oh, no, that was a Mickey take.
Yeah.
Dawn French. Sorry. Sorry, Dawn. Just that.
Anyway,
the two of them hanging onto a plank of wood, and the plank of wood's cost
£500,000.
How would you even know which it was? Which plank it
It's
was?
that plank of wood, the one they've just sold.
What are you calling a plank?
Thank you
We're out
so
of time.
much.
Thank
Stop
you.
it. Have I got to go again?
Yeah.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. There's a lot of heavy and thundery showers around on Saturday, and Sunday's looking pretty similar too, though perhaps feeling a little less humid than it has done recently. An area of low pressure sits down towards the southwest of the UK with various bands of rain and showers swirling around, pushing their way northwards as we go towards Sunday afternoon. We'll continue to see some longer spells of rain across parts of northern Scotland through Sunday afternoon, but almost anywhere could see a shower. But between those showers, there will be a bit more brightness than we saw on Saturday, some sunshine, and feeling pleasantly warm in that sunshine too. 24 to 26 degrees across the south and into the low 20s further north. As we then look ahead to Sunday evening, we'll still continue to see those showers across the southern half of the country, perhaps a little drier across the immediate south coast for a time. Some late sunshine possible here. But across parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, across much of Scotland, we'll continue to see those heavy downpours through Sunday evening. However, the very far northeast of Scotland, perhaps holding on to some lower cloud, some mist and murk, perhaps some rain and drizzle over any high ground here. As we then go through the rest of Sunday evening, it will turn a little drier across northern parts of England, parts of Wales, southwest England too, but further showers pushing up from the south, affecting southern and eastern parts of England into the early hours of Monday morning, and further showers as well across Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland, perhaps merging to some longer spells of rain here too. Not quite as mild as what we saw on Friday and Saturday night, but temperatures still widely into the double figures. And that does mean quite a mild but damp start for many of us on Monday morning, although perhaps a little bit brighter across northern parts of England, Wales and southwest England too. Almost anywhere could see a shower bubbling up through the afternoon, and once again these could be heavy. There could be some hail and thunder mixed in, some longer spells of rain across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. But where you do catch the sunshine, once again feeling pleasantly warm with highs into the low 20s, even across the north as we head through the afternoon.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain's Newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
Poll, it doesn't surprise either Bev or I, shows that most Brits believe that Britain is in decline. 76% of us, though, did surprise. We fear political unrest and even violence.
And those fears come amid violent riots, of course, in Ballymena in Northern Ireland. They've left dozens of police officers injured and the area largely destroyed in some cases, particularly the local leisure centre.
Let's talk to our Northern Ireland reporter, Doogie Beattie. Doogie, this report comes on the back of sustained riots over, 6 days in the province?
They are putting undocumented immigrants into areas of high deprivation. There is a group here called Mears. 85% of their properties are in socially deprived areas, and those areas are now kicking back because in amongst those areas you have pensioners and so forth that have bought their houses back in the 80s. I spoke to a couple of them that were having to be moved out by their grandchildren.
But we know that people are not happy with. I think first thing to say is that people are worried about their living standards. They think they've declined. And actually, strikingly, in a different part of the survey, we found that 4 in 10 people feel like they were worse off since the COVID pandemic. That was actually particularly pronounced amongst reform voters. But overall, people are very pessimistic about their personal finances and their cost of living. So I think that's a huge driver. We also know that people aren't happy with the government's handling of immigration, and actually going back to that question about what's affecting people's living standards, which I think is a much better way of getting at how people are feeling about things like the economy. People perceive, including Labour voters, including a sizable chunk of Labour voters, that immigration has had a negative impact on their living standards. And I do think we're starting to see that filter through into pessimism about the country as a whole.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good morning. Foreign nationals reportedly flying into Britain to use NHS services, costing us about £200 million.
Yeah, the government had pledged to crack down on the practice, but is said to be thriving, putting more pressure on an already overstretched health service.
So with millions of us just struggling to get a doctor's appointment, how long can we afford to run what's fast becoming an international health service?
And in other health news, GB News can exclusively reveal that government insiders are warning that giving in to the junior doctors' pay demands could unleash a £31 billion wave of NHS walkouts, nearly a fifth of the entire health budget.
Another major data breach. The Army launches an urgent investigation after the names of SAS soldiers were reportedly left online for more than a decade. It's left the Defence Secretary furious, and we're asking, who's protecting the people who protect us?
As Chief Prosecutor, to keep our streets safe, and I'll do the same as Prime Minister.
Yes, a bombshell. A new poll reveals nearly half the country now believes Britain has become a lawless state, and they don't trust the government or the police to fix it. So with confidence collapsing and criminals running riot, who's really going to take back our streets?
Yes, a lack of faith in the government's ability to fix this. And in terms of causes, the number one factor that people are blaming is immigration.
There's more rain, showers and perhaps thunderstorms on the cards for many of us over the next couple of days, but perhaps feeling a little less humid than it's felt recently. Join me later for the full forecast with all the details.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Dawn Neeson, and this is GB News Breakfast.
All right, good morning, good morning. Let's start with this damning poll for the government, as Brits are saying they have no faith in Labour or the police to keep us safe.
Yeah, 74% of those asked said knife crime was out of control in the country, and 60% said the same of violent crime. For theft, it was 70% asked what caused the crime wave. Immigration came out top, followed closely by economic inequality and lenient sentencing.
Well, how do we sort it out? Well, the survey revealed that Nigel Farage is more trusted than both Keir Starmer or Kemi Badenoch to keep Britain safe.
GB News presenter Camilla Tominey joins us now live from Westminster.
Good morning. Yeah, it's stunning, these statistics, isn't it? I mean, when you've got a situation where half the country thinks we're becoming lawless, what does that say about societal breakdown? And I think you'll both identify with this idea that people... Probably everybody you know knows someone who has had a mobile phone taken or been mugged in the street. We're now in a situation where people can't wear nice watches out in the City of London for fear of being mugged. And in one case recently, the case of that young man actually being killed for his watch. We have that whole kind of crime epidemic and knife epidemic in London that Sadiq Khan, the London mayor, doesn't seem to have got a grip of. I mean, overall, you speak to the police and they will tell you that overall levels of crime are down. But I think this is a two-pronged thing. This is lots of tales of very violent crime making it into the newspapers, and then a perception that so-called petty crime, which, by the way, should never really be called petty, because to the person that it's perpetrated against, it doesn't feel petty or insignificant, that the police aren't doing enough to clamp down on it. And that creates a total kind of feeling that actually there is a lawlessness involved. You both mentioned earlier the link to migrants, illegal migrants and migrant hotels. Funnily enough, there's another study in the Mail on Sunday this morning talking about one particular migrant hotel which has had 41 incidents of crime linked to its inhabitants. So we have got a correlation, haven't we, between some of the people coming here and the levels of crime in those local areas. And people will say that in different areas, different towns and cities, and then no doubt people will shout at them and point at them and say that they're racists and bigots. But it's a legitimate concern if we are actually importing criminals into the UK. And again, questions being raised about whether we should have foreign criminals in British jails when the jails are so oversubscribed that actual criminals are being released early back onto the streets of the UK. None of this makes any sense, does it?
No. Well, it doesn't make any sense. But the big question is people don't... I'll be interested to know what your guests are going to make of this today, especially when part of this survey says people don't trust Kemi Badenoch or Keir Starmer to solve it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting as well from Keir Starmer's perspective, because He's meant to be Mr. Law and Order. He was a former director of public prosecutions, as he never ceases to keep reminding us. And again, Badenoch, you know, there's a survey suggesting that 31% would say that Nigel Farage would be tougher on crime. I mean, that's probably because of some of his rhetoric. We don't have any evidence of that as it is. I'm speaking on the show to Steve Reed, who is the guy who's in charge of water companies. So, yes, I can touch on this. I'm also going to, of course, touch on the Afghan data breach. I mean, that's also linked to this story in a way, isn't it? Because the Home Office and the MOD don't seem to know who's come in. I mean, have we actually imported Taliban terrorists unwittingly and had the taxpayer pay for it? So I'll be asking the Environment Secretary, Steve Reed, about that, but also, of course, asking him about Thames Water, bonuses going to water bosses. He's pledged to halve pollution by the end of the Parliament, but the Telegraph is reporting that middle-class families will be hit because their bills will go up. So I'll be speaking to him about that. Also speaking to Kevin Hollingrake, who is the Shadow Cabinet Minister for sort of the Levelling Up Communities Department. What does he make of this? What does he also make of rumours of a reshuffle within the Conservatives? Is it high time that Kemi Badenoch actually reshuffled her top team to make sure she's got the right players in the right positions? Also going to be discussing the Mansion House speech that Rachel Reeves gave in the week, only for it to be followed up by the highest inflation level in 18 months. Is she doing a good enough job? I'm going to be asking Lord Moynihan about that, who has written 2 books now on how to achieve better growth. And it's a sad one, this, but a very important story. I'm going to be speaking to the father of a boy who died of cancer, who is campaigning for parents to be able to take paid leave to look after terminally ill children. You won't believe this, guys. Guess who's blocked it? Labour in the Lords. What are they playing at? This is not gentler, kinder politics, so we're going to get that story too.
Sounds like an absolutely packed show. There's so many questions there, Camilla. Let's hope you get some decent answers from them. Good luck with that one. Yeah, that's Camilla Tominey coming up soon, live from Westminster.
All right, let's talk to our political correspondent, Catherine Forster, on the issue, Catherine, of crime and there's real concerns now that we are living in a pretty lawless country in many respects. Is this a legacy problem? Is this 14 years of cuts that have led us to this point?
Well, I think some of it definitely is, because we know that during austerity, huge cuts were made. Lots of police stations closed, police numbers were down, and, of course, the government trying to turn things around now, but there is not a lot of money, we've seen. There's very little money. The economy is not growing as the government had hoped. There's more tax rises coming. So, look, this is very difficult. So this survey of 2,000 adults by Survation, 49% think that Britain has, quote, become a lawless country. 9 different types of crime, including knife crime, violent crime, people believe is out of control. And in terms of what people blame, they blame immigration. 22% blame the migrant crisis. They blame economic inequality, and they blame lenient sentencing, because it's not just that there's more people in the country, that the police forces are stretched, but even when and if police investigate, even if people are charged, the judicial system is under so much pressure. The prisons are letting people out early. The whole thing feels like it's not working properly. And just to look at the actual statistics from the Office for National Statistics, recorded crime over the last 10 years has actually gone down a little bit, but violent crime, sexual offences and shoplifting have gone up dramatically. And we all know, don't we, about shoplifting. That's now at its highest level since the current way it's recorded was started in 2003.
I sort of don't know how they record shoplifting, because police aren't attending it or anything else.
And I think so often now it's just not recorded, because it's becoming something that is every day. People see it. The staff are obviously told not to do anything, because you don't know people have knives. People get stabbed in London all the time. There's an issue of safety. As we saw, people barging on to the London Underground, not paying. You see it all the time. And again, the staff, for their own safety, are told not to act. So people feel like there is a real breakdown in law and order. And in terms of who they trust to be tough on crime, Well, Nigel Farage comes top on 31%. The Prime Minister only 18. Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the opposition, 14. And 22% say none of them.
Well, this is interesting. This isn't an overnight problem, is it? This has been building up for a long, long time, and successive governments have failed to get a grip of it. And all we get is statements and platitudes. I mean, no one actually cracks on with sorting the problem out.
And this is the thing, I mean, it's crime, but it's not just crime, is it? It's the NHS, it's so many things that we feel, we pay our taxes, we have a right to expect. If a crime is committed, somebody will be investigated, they make their best efforts to deal with it. So much of how Britain is operating, people feel isn't working properly, which means that somebody like Nigel Farage, who of course has the luxury of never having been in power and therefore not responsible for any of this, is able to say, Britain is broken, reform will fix it. Well, easy to say, of course, if, as current polls suggest, he becomes Prime Minister, then we will see, won't we?
OK.
Devil's in the detail, isn't it? I just want to read one message out from Henry, which a lot of you are agreeing with here. Henry says, we are a lawless society. No one cares anymore.
Well, I disagree. I disagree with you, Henry. I think a lot of people care. Maybe not enough people in power
I think
care,
what Henry's saying is
a lot of us care.
The politicians don't care. They don't listen. Catherine, thank you so much. It's...
Well, it is a little bit depressing, but if you want to cheer yourselves up and actually just forget about all of this, just for the summer, go away somewhere and spend your £54,321 in tax-free cash that you could win in our biggest ever cash prize giveaway. Here's how you enter.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you can win our biggest cash prize so far. £54,321 in tax-free cash is up for grabs in our summer Great British giveaway. Cash to spend on anything you like. All of that cash could send you on a holiday, boost your savings, or just send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing. Lines close on the 1st of August, so make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Oh, good luck indeed. That would be so nice this summer, wouldn't it?
Lovely.
Oh, yes. We can't enter, but you can. So give it a go, because you do need some good news, don't you? Because I've got a little bit more for you coming up. Bad news, that is. Could giving in to junior doctor strike demands blow the NHS wide open? Oh, that's next. Yeah, spoiler alert. Don't want to miss it, though. See you soon.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
It's 9:16 now. GB News can exclusively reveal that granting junior doctors their requested 29% pay rise, that's what they want. If they got it, it would trigger a £31 billion wave of pay demands across the NHS.
That's according to government sources who say the demands could reach a lump sum equal to 1/5 of the entire NHS budget.
Well, this comes as senior NHS consultants on six-figure salaries are cancelling clinics to help support those striking medics.
OK, joining us now is GB News Science and Health Editor Lucy Johnston. Lucy, good to see you. What's going on here? This sounds very scary indeed.
Yes, well, we've had some internal analysis from Whitehall and government sources we've seen this, which has shown that the strike is likely to trigger a whole fresh wave of walkouts from other NHS workers who are already talking about striking. If doctors get it, why shouldn't we? If they're getting more and much more, why shouldn't we? And they've worked out that this would actually cost £31 billion to pay everyone per year. So that would be, they say, the equivalent to the entire Department of Transport budget, or the equivalent to, they would have to abolish budgets for ambulances, mental health and GPs. So they're saying this is just not a possibility. We don't have the money. In the meantime, the Doctors' Union, the BMA, is arguing that this pay rise would only be a small proportion of the entire NHS budget, and that since 2008, they have had a real terms pay increase, the equivalent to 29%. So they're complaining that they can't afford to work in that role, especially if they're living in London and elsewhere. So it's a real standoff, really. And I think Wes Streeting now is trying to find other ways to sort of stave off these strikes, to avoid these strikes, which lead to millions of appointments cancelled, and also we've seen has directly led to at least 5 deaths last year. So this was the previous strikes that they carried out. And these are coroner's reports that have verified that at least 5 patients died. And that's probably the tip of the iceberg, because these are the only ones we know about. So in the end, many doctors and many senior clinicians are saying, actually, it's the patients who are suffering here, and the waiting lists are high enough.
But this is the fundamental problem which has always existed when you give in to strikers' demands, isn't it? Which obviously the government did pretty quickly after coming into power, that it just triggers more waves of claims and strikes.
I think Wes Streeting's in a bit of a problem now. I mean, he came in and said he would end the strikes, and he was seen as a bit of a hero. He did end the strikes, but unfortunately, I think the BMA is I mean, we must remember it's called the British Medical Association, and it sounds like it is an operation there for helping patients or but actually its whole role is to bring paying conditions, improve paying conditions for doctors. It's a union, and I think people need to remember that. And it's many doctors are saying to me now that they have too much power. Their pay awards are separate from the rest of the NHS in that they're not tied to a particular system called Agenda for Change. So they have a separate thing, so they can negotiate for more pay. So people are saying they shouldn't be allowed to argue for this. Why should they have more pay? Why shouldn't others? And there are calls now for, and it may happen, for doctors to be banned from striking, as are firefighters, the army and police. So it is patients who are really suffering here. Many are in pain, many can't work. And if you think about setting up, organising for an operation, you may have waited up to 2 years, maybe even longer. You have to get carers in potentially, you have to rearrange a whole load of things. So it's not just death, but it's actually the huge inconvenience to patients. So there's, this is what many doctors are saying to me and government sources, that actually we need to really think about what's happening to patients. At the same time, we have learned, GB News has learned, that across the country, consultants are empowering this strike by downing their own tools, by cancelling their clinics and their operating lists in order to make the strike have a bigger impact, because they are supportive.
Is that legal? Is that legal?
They're not doing this officially. This is what we've been told by consultants. The BMA is not commenting on this. So these are things that we've learned. But at the same time, the government is in talks still with the junior doctors union, with the junior doctors, and it says that they will find different ways to improve their conditions, their working hours, other things, and perhaps draw money from their pensions in order to offset this. So there's negotiations going on, and I think the BMA is now realizing that it's not going to get this money. So even though it's saying that it will carry on striking, I think there is hope that there will be some room for more negotiations and a different approach to the way doctors work.
I say, Lucy, you do have your ear on the ground with this story in particular, and how hopeful are you that there will be some agreement that doesn't involve... I mean, the strike is due to take place next week, isn't it, to start?
It is, July the 25th. I think that the BMA is not going to go away with its demands. I think we may see a cooling off period. We may see this strike averted, possibly. But they do believe that they have not had enough money, that their pay has gone down in real terms since 2008, and they are absolutely fixated on this. And I think it will carry on unless there's a real muscle by the government to prevent them, or some change in the system to prevent them from being able to do this. Yeah.
Lucy, basically your story is saying that, if they carry on pushing for this amount of money after the award they were given last year and others go on strike, you're going to bankrupt the NHS. Is that what they want?
Well, I think they don't see it that way. They don't see that there is no money in the pot, but there really isn't a lot of money around, and they just see it from their perspective. So, but the story that we have, these sources that have given us this story, are saying that if they do this, it will, for parity, for fairness, and also for the other porters, midwives, nurses, physios, they'll all go on strike. They'll all demand a similar pay increase, and that will be crippling, and they simply can't afford it. Yeah.
It's just not sustainable, is it? Lucy, good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. That is it from us. For now, I'm back tomorrow with Ellie. Camilla Tominey is here next.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. There's a lot of heavy and thundery showers around on Saturday, and Sunday's looking pretty similar too, though perhaps feeling a little less humid than it has done recently. An area of low pressure sits down towards the southwest of the UK with various bands of rain and showers swirling around, pushing their way northwards as we go towards Sunday afternoon. We'll continue to see some longer spells of rain across parts of northern Scotland through Sunday afternoon, but almost anywhere could see a shower. But between those showers, there will be a bit more brightness than we saw on Saturday, some sunshine, and feeling pleasantly warm in that sunshine too. 24 to 26 degrees across the south and into the low 20s further north. As we then look ahead to Sunday evening, we'll still continue to see those showers across the southern half of the country, perhaps a little drier across the immediate south coast for a time. Some late sunshine possible here. But across parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, across much of Scotland, we'll continue to see those heavy downpours through Sunday evening. However, the very far northeast of Scotland, perhaps holding on to some lower cloud, some mist and murk, perhaps some rain and drizzle over any high ground here. As we then go through the rest of Sunday evening, it will turn a little drier across northern parts of England, parts of Wales, southwest England too, but further showers pushing up from the south, affecting southern and eastern parts of England into the early hours of Monday morning, and further showers as well